Chapter 27:17. The battle between the two was extremely terrifying. However, the Thousand Poison Saint had underestimated Yan Feiyu. Yan Feiyu's sword light soared into the sky and blocked all the poisonous insects. She even blocked the seven-star centipede. Not only that, but the cyan sword in his hand was also extremely sharp and strange. A few sword lights almost hurt the Thousand Poison's holy son. "You're courting death." The Thousand Poison Saint was furious. He roared into the sky and his power soared into the sky. He took out a pitch-black jar and poured his energy into it. Instantly, a terrifying aura filled the entire sky. "Oh no, this guy is using his trump card." The three powerhouses behind Yan Feiyu frowned. One of them sneered. "How dare he use his trump card in front of our young miss? He really doesn't know what's good for him." The black jar emitted a monstrous cold aura. It turned into a black light and flew over. Everywhere it passed, the sky collapsed. Everyone quickly retreated. This was an extremely poisonous item. It was even more terrifying than the Poison King. Just a trace of its aura would cause one's vitality to wither and turn into white bones. Yan Feiyu shouted and spat out a pair of golden scissors. The golden scissors enlarged and turned into two dragons. They rushed out and cut the entire sky in half. The black fog in front of them also broke apart in an instant. It couldn't withstand it at all. Dragon scissors. Wasn't this Yan Nanshan's treasure? It was actually with him. "Saint, retreat quickly." The powerhouses of the Thousand Poison sect cried out in alarm when they saw this scene. This was because the dragon scissors was a powerful weapon. The Thousand Poison Saint's pupils shrank. He hurriedly used the black jar to block in front of him. With a clang, the dragon scissors and the gray jar collided with each other, making an earth-shattering sound. The Thousand Poison Saint spat out blood and flew backward. "Damn it, let's go." In the next moment, he turned into rolling black fog and wrapped the powerhouses of the Thousand Poison sect. He quickly left. The other party was very strong and had many trump cards. If they continued fighting, it would be difficult for him to gain an advantage. More importantly, the other party was Yan Nanshan's sister. If he really hurt her, Yan Nantian would probably kill him. Therefore, the Thousand Poison Saint didn't dare to stay here. Seeing the other party escape, Yan Feiyu snorted coldly. He really overestimated himself. She ignored him and turned to look at the fire maple tree below. "My line is my line." Suddenly Yan Feiyu frowned. She discovered that there was a white figure rapidly shuttling back and forth between the fire phoenix trees below. Although the speed was very fast, she still saw that it was a monkey. A snow-white little monkey. Spirit monkey? The corners of Yan Feiyu's lips curled up as her eyes lit up. She was really lucky to be able to obtain a spiritual beast from this guardian's lair. Come to think of it, it should be a mutated species of heaven and earth. Thinking of this, she waved her jade-like hands, forming an inescapable net that grabbed downwards. Wuji, it was not some native spirit monkey below, but a little snow-white monkey. Seeing that someone was trying to capture it, it swiftly traversed through space and vanished from the spot. When it appeared again, it dodged the fierce palm. It floated in the sky, bared its teeth and spat at Yan Feiyu. From the looks of it, he was furious. What incredible speed. What a strange movement technique. The three experts of the Yan family were shocked. Yan Feiyu was also interested. As expected of the guardian's lair, the spiritual beast inside was indeed powerful. If she could obtain it and nurture it, it would definitely become a powerful demon king. As she spoke, she waved her jade-like hands again and grabbed downwards. Her jade-like hands overlapped and covered the sky. The little snow-white monkey kept dodging. It was so angry that it scratched its ears and cheeks. In the next moment, its body swayed and it charged towards Yan Feiyu. Seeing this, Yan Feiyu smiled. She thought that the other party had surrendered. "Come, little darling, come to me." She took out a spiritual fruit. Spit. She was slapped on the head. The furry little paw slapped her face. Yan Feiyu was dizzy and felt that the spiritual power in her body had frozen. Taking advantage of the few seconds of dizziness, the little snow-white monkey was so angry that it used its little paw to ruthlessly stomp on Yan Feiyu's handsome face. In the next moment, it turned into a bolt of white lightning and fled 1,000 miles away. "Ah, damn beast, I'm going to kill you." 3 seconds later, Yan Feiyu recovered and screamed in anger. "A damned monkey actually dared to stomp on my face? Moreover, it even knocked me out." She couldn't bear it. She was high and mighty. Even the myriad poison sage had to run away when he saw her, let alone a little monkey. "Catch it. I'm going to tear it into pieces." Yan Feiyu snorted coldly. The three experts of the Yan family rushed over. The three of them used their king domains and covered the sky and earth. They wanted to surround and kill the little snow-white monkey. Ping ping ping. However, in the next moment the three of them were also slapped in the face and felt dizzy. The king domains disappeared. The little snow-white monkey appeared in another direction and made a face and spat at them. Damn it, what kind of monkey is this? Why is it so strange? It can make us dizzy. It's too fast. It's definitely a mutant. The three of them recovered and exclaimed in surprise. Yan Feiyu's gaze was gloomy. She wiped the footprints on her face and was shocked. Although she was angry, she changed her mind. Don't kill it. Capture it. It's definitely a terrifying mutant. I have to make good use of it. Indeed, the other party could even knock it out. If she could be tamed, she would be able to catch her enemies off guard and easily kill them. In the next moment, she opened her mouth again and spat out the dragon scissors. The golden scissors expanded in the air and turned into two dragons. They circled quickly and charged toward the little snow-white monkey. Little White changed its position. However, this time the dragon scissors quickly followed. Wuji, the little snow-white monkey panicked because it couldn't dodge. The two dragons also pierced through the void and got closer and closer to it. They were about to surround it. Seeing this, Yan Feiyu smiled. Great, I finally got it. The dragon scissors was a powerful weapon that her brother had given her. It was a half-step saint artifact and was very powerful. Even the saints and saintesses couldn't resist it, let alone a little monkey. Clang. An earth-shattering sound rang out. Light danced in the sky and the dragon scissors were sent flying. What? Seeing this, the three experts from the Yan family were stunned. Yan Feiyu was even more stunned. What's going on? Her dragon scissors were sent flying? That little monkey is already so terrifying? No, who is it? Her face turned gloomy. In front of her, beside the little snow-white monkey, a figure appeared. It was a black-robed young man with a handsome face. In front of him was a flaming pagoda that was burning fiercely. Chapter 27:18. Who are you? How dare you snatch what I want? Yan Feiyu stared at the black-robed young man and said coldly, Cripple your hands and kneel down before me. Then I can let you go. At the front, when Lin Xian heard these words, he frowned. Who is this guy? How arrogant. How dare someone talk to him in such a tone? Was he looking for death? Judging from the little white monkey's words, this guy was chasing after Little White? Lin Xian could not take it anymore. He asked coldly, You attacked Little White? Could it be that this is your monkey? Yan Feiyu said with a frown. I don't care about Little White or Little Black. Since I want it, it's mine. If you know what's good for you, hand it over. Otherwise you'll end up in a terrible state. Let me ask you, did you attack it? Lin Xian asked again. His voice was cold and he was emitting a murderous aura. So what if I attacked it? It's just a little beast. If you want to kill me, you can kill me. What can you do to me? Yan Feiyu snorted coldly as if she did not care about anyone in the world. Lin Xian's face darkened. He had to teach this guy a lesson since he dared to treat Little White in such a manner. With a sway of his body, he turned into a flash of light and disappeared into the void. How dare you attack me? You're looking for death. Yan Feiyu sneered and waved the sword in her hand. It turned into a curtain of swords and flew out. She did not mind killing the guy since he did not know his place. Even the sage of myriad poison was no match for her. A stranger would definitely be killed by her sword. Boom, boom. The sword radiance in the sky hit the guy and made a deafening sound. However, Yan Feiyu was shocked. Her sword radiance was shattered. The guy was not injured at all. He charged over like a god of war. Slap. In the next moment she was hit on the cheek and flew out while vomiting blood. Her beautiful face had been beaten until it was deformed. Boom. Yan Feiyu's body flew backward and crashed into a mountain in the distance. What? Miss? The three experts from the Yan family were stunned when they saw this. The other party actually injured their young miss? How was this possible? Two of them turned into rainbows and charged into the distance, while the other stared fixedly at Lin Xian. Kid, who are you? You dare to lay your hands on my young miss? You're dead meat. Hurry up and kneel down. Otherwise, I'll let you know what it means to wish you were dead. What arrogance. Why don't you try and make a move? Lin Xian stood there with his hands behind his back. He was courting death. This elder was enraged. No matter what, he was still a late-stage 8-star Supreme Almighty. His strength was incomparably powerful. He had never been looked down upon like this before. With a cold snort, the old man struck out with his palm. His palm turned into an endless wave that rushed over, wanting to smash Lin Xian into pieces. Wherever it passed, the void shattered and terrifying waves appeared in the surroundings in an instant. Umph. In the face of such a terrifying attack, Lin Xian coldly snorted and brandished his heaven-battling divine fist. A single punch exploded in all directions. The old man from the Yen clan also spat out blood and flew backwards. Half of his body exploded into a bloody mist. Damn it! Why is he so powerful? The old man was scared out of his wits. He quickly retreated with his head and regrouped in the distance. However, his face was unusually ugly. Lin Xian was too powerful. He was severely injured with a single punch. If Lin Xian had struck his head, he would have been killed. In the distance, Yan Feiyu and the other two experts also saw this scene. They were stunned in the void and their faces were gloomy. Damn it! Who exactly is this kid? Could it be that he was a peerless genius? He must be. Yan Feiyu snorted coldly. So what if he's a supreme genius? Since he dared to injure me, I'll let my brother kill him. Yan Feiyu's figure flashed and she appeared in the sky. She looked down at Lin Xian with a face full of pride. Kid, kneel down and kowtow to me as an apology. Lin Xian raised his eyebrows. He had never seen such a fearless person. Do you think that I don't dare to kill you? His entire body emitted a monstrous killing intent. Yan Feiyu snorted coldly. Do you know who I am? I'm Yan Nanshan's sister. If you dare to touch me, my brother South Emperor will definitely not let you off. So what if you're strong? My brother can kill you with a single glance. South Emperor? Hearing this, Lin Xian was also stunned. He did not expect that the other party was from the Yan family. Although Lin Xian had never seen this South Emperor before, he had heard many rumors about him. It was said that he was a top genius of the South Mountain. He had obtained the inheritance of a great emperor and was given the title of South Emperor. Just like him, he was one of the top 5 geniuses of the true spirit world. However, Lin Xian did not expect to meet his sister instead of him. However, looking at the other party's sister, she was very arrogant. She reckoned that he often used his brother's name to do evil deeds. If it were other saints, they might be afraid. However, she met him. He was the Central Emperor, an existence on the same level as South Emperor. Why would he care about the other party's sister? South Emperor's sister, no wonder you're so arrogant. You usually use your brother's name to bully others. Unfortunately, it's useless against me. Even if your brother comes, he can't scare me away. So, if you have the ability, then show it. If you don't, then hurry up and get lost. While speaking, Lin Xian whistled lightly. Dozens of figures came from afar, quickly flying over. You want to compete with my elder brother for the peak? You're overestimating yourself. You think you can contend against us just because you called for help? Yan Feiyu's expression was disdainful. She did not think that there was anyone in this world who could contend against her brother. So what if the other party had more people? Would they really dare to touch her? In the distance, those figures quickly flew over. They saw the fire wind trees below and cried out in surprise. There are so many fire maple trees. We're rich. Palace Master, we're really rich. These people were naturally Immortal Palace's martial artists. The few leading them were Peacock, Hui Dao, and Ghost Calendar's top 3 geniuses. The ones following them were also young martial artists. These were all people who came with Lin Xian to train. The other Immortal Palace experts were led by other protectors and elders. Get lost. This is what I want. If anyone dares to touch it, my Yan family will destroy him. Not only will we destroy him, but we will also destroy his entire family. You can try. Yan Feiyu shouted, her voice spreading in all directions. In the distance, Peacock and the others frowned when they heard this. Immortal Palace's martial artists snorted coldly. Who is this? So arrogant? Damn it, you dare to be arrogant in front of our palace master? Do you want to die? Who are you? How dare you speak in such a tone? Hui Dao also snorted coldly. I'm South Emperor's sister. Hurry up and kneel down and kowtow. Yan Nanshan's sister? That's South Emperor. They're from the Yan family. Immortal Palace's martial artists discussed animatedly. How is it? Are you scared? If you know you're scared, then kneel down and kowtow. I'm in a good mood so I can spare your lives. Chapter 27:19. Because Immortal Palace's martial artists all sneered. Oh my, is this girl an idiot? She actually wants us to kowtow? She really doesn't know what's good for her. Who does she think she is? Does she really think she's a great emperor? What's there to be arrogant about being South Emperor's sister? That's right, she's not South Emperor. Even if South Emperor came personally, he wouldn't dare to say such big words in front of our palace master. Palace master? Damn it, who exactly are you? When Yan family's experts heard this, their eyelids twitched wildly. A name appeared in their minds. Listen well. Hui Dao stood out. Our palace master is naturally the central emperor. Do you think you have the qualifications to be arrogant in front of our palace master? Central emperor. Lin Xian. Immortal palace. It's really them. Yan family's elders cried out in alarm. Their faces became incomparably ugly. Yan Feiyu's face was also full of shock. She didn't expect the other party to be the central emperor. A peerless genius on the same level as her brother. Young miss, let's go quickly. Yan family's 3 experts transmitted their voices, wanting to leave. There was no helping it. Lin Xian's reputation was too strong. He wasn't any weaker than South Emperor. Moreover, not long ago he had just defeated the #1 genius. It could be said that he was like the sun in the sky. Provoking him now was an extremely unwise choice. Yan Feiyu was also stunned. However, she soon sneered. So you're the central emperor. You think you're worthy of being mentioned in the same breath as my brother? You're not worthy of being the central emperor at all, and you're even less worthy of my brother's name. Lin Xian's eyes were gloomy. The Immortal Palace's martial artist behind him also exploded. Is this girl an idiot? Yes, she actually dares to talk about our palace master like that. Little girl, I think you should kneel down and kowtow to apologize. Even if it's true, do you think we don't dare to touch you? Is your brother South Emperor that awesome? Let him fight with the #1 genius first. Let's see if he can beat the #1 genius before shouting at our palace master. That's right, I reckon your brother isn't even as good as the #1 genius. Immortal Palace's people sneered again and again. Yan Feiyu was mad. Ah, bastards, you bastards. Who said my brother isn't as good as the #1 genius? My brother is the strongest. Even a saint physique can't beat my brother. You're just bragging. How can a saintly physique not be able to defeat your brother? Have they fought before? How dare you say that? What if one day your brother is defeated by a saintly being? Wouldn't that be like slapping your own face? Alright, if you have anything to say, let your brother say it himself. You don't have the right to be arrogant in front of us. Peacock, Hui Dao and the others sneered. Yan Feiyu was so angry that her entire body was trembling. As Yan Nanshan's younger sister, she was the little princess of the Yan clan. In the southern mountains, no one dared to go against her. He didn't expect to be provoked and looked down upon in such a way during his trip to Qinling Mountains. She couldn't stand it. Damn it, I'm going to kill you. She roared and activated the Jiao Dragon Scissors. 2 Jiao Dragons roared and charged forward. A terrifying power shook the surroundings. Damn it, this weapon actually has holy aura. That's a half-saint artifact, right? She actually has a half-saint artifact. Immortal Palace's people cried out in alarm. Peacock and the others sneered. Their temple master had just obtained a half-saint artifact recently. That guy was no match for him. As expected, Lin Xian activated the 9-story pagoda and released a sea of fire that filled the sky. It turned into fire chilins that roared in all directions. He fought with the 2 Jiao dragons. At the same time, he took the initiative to attack. He struck out with his palm, which turned into a huge palm that covered the sky and slammed onto the Jiao Dragon Scissors. A trembling sound was heard. The void in the 9 heavens and 10 earths shattered, and the mountains within 10,000 miles cracked. The Jiao Dragon Scissors were knocked to the ground. Damn it, his physique is so strong. Yan Feiyu was terrified. The Yan clan's experts roared. Not good, miss, retreat. He has the 9 Yang divine body. The 9 Yang divine body was extremely powerful and terrifying. They might not be able to block it. Only Yan Nantian himself would be able to stop it. Damn it, 12 heavenly swords. I'll fight it out with you. Yan Feiyu screamed crazily when she saw that. The sword in her hand emitted a resplendent light, which turned into 12 sword lights that connected the heavens and the earth. The 12 sword lights slashed down mercilessly like 12 bolts of divine lightning, carrying a terrifying murderous aura. It had to be said that Yan Feiyu was very impressive. Not only was she Yan Nanshan's sister, but her strength had also reached the level of a top saintess. It could be said that her power was boundless. With this power alone, she could definitely dominate an area. Unfortunately, she met Lin Xian. 12 heavenly swords descended from the sky. The expressions of the Immortal Palace's cultivators changed. They were facing a great enemy. Lin Xian's expression was calm. He waved his palm, which turned into a huge palm print, and grabbed forward. I don't care what saintess or divine body you have. How dare you grab my 12 heavenly swords with your bare hands? You're dead meat. Yan Feiyu screamed crazily. Her 12 heavenly swords were a top heaven divine ability. It was extremely terrifying. Together with the sword in her hand, she could kill a saint. Even a top-notch saint would not be able to contend with him. She had to deal with it with her full strength. Although the other party was a middle emperor, he actually dared to grab her heavenly sword chi with his bare hands. This made her feel that the other party was too arrogant. She swore that she would definitely cut off the other party's arm. However, in the next moment she was stunned. Because her 12 heavenly sword lights were quickly dimming, as if they were about to disappear. Damn it, this was impossible. How could he break it in an instant? Not to mention her, the 3 Yin family's experts were also stunned. Even if the other party was a middle emperor, he should not be so powerful. What kind of technique was this? With a light wave, the 12 heavenly swords disappeared without a trace? How could they know that Lin Xian was an expert in the sword Dao? His attainments and sword techniques were extremely terrifying. Yan Feiyu displaying her sword techniques in front of him was simply displaying her slight skill in front of an expert. The 12 heavenly swords were unparalleled in the eyes of others, but in Lin Xian's eyes, it was full of loopholes. He saw through the flaws of the 12 heavenly swords at a glance. Therefore, when he attacked, it was naturally a one-hit kill. In an instant, the 12 heavenly swords disappeared without a trace. Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back, looked at the other party and said indifferently, "What other techniques do you have? Show them to me. Other than your brother, what other abilities do you have to be proud of? Just you wait, my brother won't let you off." Yan Feiyu screamed. Lin Xian sneered. "It seems that you don't have any other abilities. You're just a piece of trash who relies on your brother. Get lost. A person like you won't cooperate with me." With that, Lin Xian took a step forward. A sharp aura erupted from his body, turning into a tornado that charged forward. In an instant, Yan Feiyu was sent flying. She flew a few thousand meters backward and vomited large mouthfuls of blood. All the bones in her body were shattered. She screamed crazily. "I'll kill you, I'll definitely kill you." Noisy. Lin Xian's face darkened, and the aura on his body suddenly erupted. Feeling this aura, the 3 Yin family's experts trembled. They were like a small boat rolling in a storm. Now, they finally knew how powerful the other party was. Chapter 27:20. Leave quickly. If Lin Fan wanted to kill them, they would not be able to stop him. Therefore, they quickly turned into 3 streams of light and escaped with Yan Feiyu. "You want to leave just like that? Do you really think that you can come and go as you please after provoking me?" Lin Xian's voice was cold. Countless sword chi circled the area, forming a cage that enveloped Yan Feiyu and the others. "Damn it, what are you trying to do? My brother will not let you off if you dare to attack us. The Yan family will not let you off." Yan Feiyu screamed crazily. Her eyes were filled with fear. The other party's methods were too powerful. She couldn't resist at all in front of him. "Your dragon scissors are not bad. Keep it." Lin Xian's eyes lit up as he looked at the golden dragon. The dragon scissors surrounded Yan Feiyu to protect her. Yan Feiyu was furious when she heard what Lin Fan said. Lin Fan dared to have designs on her treasure. How could she tolerate that? The 3 Yin family experts' eyelids twitched. They quickly said, "The dragon scissors is South Emperor's treasure. He is only lending it to Miss temporarily." Although they did not say it explicitly, their intentions were clear. "This is South Emperor's item. Do you dare to take it?" Lin Xian snorted coldly. Who cared about the North or the South Arch? If it was not for South Emperor, do you think the 4 of you would still be alive? I just want some interest and you are so unwilling. Do you really think that I don't dare to kill you? The sword chi on Lin Xian's body grew sharper and sharper. The 3 elders of the Yin family began to tremble. Their faces were filled with terror because they did not doubt that if the other party really wanted to kill them, they could do it with a single glance. Yan Feiyu was the same. Although she had the dragon scissors to protect her, her face was still pale. She swore that when she returned, she would tell her brother and ask him to destroy Lin Fan. "Since you are so stubborn, don't blame me for doing it myself." Lin Xian executed the Yin-Yang 8 steps and instantly appeared beside the other party. "Damn it." The 3 elders of the Yin family roared, but their bodies seemed to be frozen. Tens of thousands of streaks of sword chi surrounded them, causing them to not dare to move at all. As long as they moved, they would probably be cut into pieces. Yan Feiyu also shrieked. She was no longer as arrogant as before. At this moment, her entire body was trembling. "If you dare to kill me, my brother won't let you off." "Humph, I wouldn't be afraid even if your brother were here." Lin Xian snorted coldly as a golden light appeared in his eyes. Yan Feiyu was attacked by the illusion. In the next moment, she stopped resisting and her expression became extremely respectful. "Greetings, master." She knelt on one knee. "Erase the imprint of the flood dragon scissors and give it to me." Lin Xian's cold voice sounded. Yes, master. Yan Feiyu was in a daze as she moved quickly. The three experts from the Yan family were shocked when they saw this. What kind of method was this? Their miss was actually being controlled by someone? This was too heaven-defying. Other than the terrifying Sword Dao and Nine Yang divine body, the other party actually had such a terrifying eye technique. They had never seen such an eye technique before. This meant that the other party did not use all of his trump cards when he was fighting with the number one prodigy. Oh heavens, the Central Emperor was really too terrifying. They were extremely terrified. On the other hand, Yan Feiyu quickly erased the imprint of the Flood Dragon scissors. The Flood Dragon scissors swayed rapidly on her body and turned into a palm-sized golden scissors that floated in the air. Lin Xian took the Flood Dragon scissors and formed a few seals before keeping it. Whoosh! He waved his hand. Scram! A gust of wind blew Yan Feiyu and the three experts from the Yan family away, and they instantly disappeared into the sky. The temple master was too cool. Yes, he was my idol. In the distance, the martial artists from Immortal Palace cheered excitedly. Hui Dao Peacock and the others were also shocked. Yan Feiyu was a top saint and they might not be able to defeat her. However, such a terrifying existence was like a puppet in front of Lin Xian. She could only be manipulated by him. This made their faces full of shock. Lin Xian said that they should take action and collect the fire maple trees below. Of course they should not take all of them. They should leave a dozen of them here for the future generations. Indeed, this was the rule of the true spirit world. Even if they encountered treasures, they would not kill them all and take all of them. They would leave some behind. For example, they would leave the roots or take 90% and leave 10% behind. After all, treasures were good, but they could not be destroyed. They had to be left for the future generations. The people from Immortal Palace naturally knew about these rules. They moved quickly, and the little white monkey also joined the plundering army. Lin Xian stood in the air and narrowed his eyes. This Flood Dragon scissors was not what he wanted. He felt that this Flood Dragon scissors was very suitable for the Dark Red Divine Dragon. The Dark Red Divine Dragon had been desperately trying to break the formation in the past few years. He naturally had to find something to comfort him. Soon, most of the fire wind fruits were plucked. Of course, some were left behind. Not only that, Lin Xian took about a third of the fire phoenix trees. They were preparing to transplant them outside. This way, even if they did not come to this nest in the future, they could still enjoy the fire phoenix fruits in Immortal Palace. Let's go. Lin Xian waved his hand and led the people from Immortal Palace away quickly. After flying for about half a day, dozens of lights appeared in the distance. Big brother Lin Xian. It turned out that Xin Jingqiu had come. Lin Xian and Xin Jingqiu met up and set off together. Big brother Lin Xian, go ahead quickly. There seems to be a big treasure there. Oh really? Lin Xian was surprised. Yes, big sister Qingqing has already arrived. She was the one who told me. She said that there were 9 bone palaces arranged in a supreme formation. There must be something good inside. 8 bone palaces. Lin Xian was surprised. It seemed that the background was not small. Yes, many holy lands have already arrived. Alright, let's go take a look. Lin Xian and the others flew ahead. There was indeed a phenomenon in front of them. In the vast mountains, 9 bone palaces appeared out of nowhere, emitting a mysterious aura. These bone palaces were extremely terrifying. They were completely made of white bones. The bones were crystal clear and incomparably resplendent. Clearly they were not ordinary bones but the corpses of peerless demon kings. The bones were huge, much bigger than humans. Some were more than 10 meters long and some were dozens of meters long. The bone palaces emitted a cold aura that made people tremble. At this moment, countless people gathered outside the 9 bone palaces. They were all martial artists from the Holy Lands. Among them there were 2 terrifying figures. They stood in one direction, making people look up to them. One was naturally East Seiji Wudao. He stood there with the Yi family. The surrounding people did not dare to get close. The other was a young monk who looked to be about 15 or 16 years old. He had delicate features. Chapter 27-21. That was because he was the saint of the Western Desert's Thousand Buddha Temple. He was also known as the top prodigy of Western Buddha. Apart from Eastern Sage and Western Buddha, the other saints and prodigies were also here. No Flower, Gu Santong, the Prince of Great Xia, and the others were also here. Murong Qingqing was also here. Her beauty was unparalleled and she was standing on a lotus. However, there were a few dazzling prodigies who did not come. The South Emperor did not come. The Alcade Saint did not come. Of course, the mysterious North Demon did not come either. However, the people of the Demon King Palace were here. Tiandu stood there with the experts of the Demon King Palace. Yan Ruyu, who was beside him, did not appear. I wonder if she came this time? So lively. Looks like everyone is here. A voice came from the sky, followed by countless figures descending. The cultivators of the sacred grounds and sects who had arrived first all turned their heads to look. In the next moment they exclaimed, Lin Xian. The Central Emperor is here. The Central Emperor is here. Of course, there were many supporters of Lin Xian among them. At this moment they were cheering excitedly. Yi Wudao, No Flower, Gu Santong, the Prince of Great Xia, and the others nodded and greeted them. Lin Xian also responded. Brother Xian. Murong Qingqing smiled. Lin Xian brought people near Murong Qingqing. Sister Qingqing, we're here. How is it? Have you cracked the array here? Xin Jingqiu asked. Murong Qingqing on the other hand shook her head. No, these 9 bone palaces were extremely frightening. Just the aura they were emitting was already overwhelming. Moreover, we think that the 9 palaces form an extremely terrifying array. I'm afraid it's not that easy to break. Murong Qingqing's expression turned a bit serious as she spoke. Brother Lin, your array skills are high. See if there's a chance to crack it. If there's a chance, tell us and we'll support you. Gu Santong and No Flower also spoke. They naturally knew that Lin Xian was also an array master. The other saints and saintesses also looked over. Okay, let me see. Lin Xian nodded, a golden glow appearing in his eyes. At the same time he raised his finger and balls of sword chi flew up. Buzz buzz buzz. When these sword chis flew near the bone palaces, they were destroyed by the nether spirit aura on the bone palaces. Lin Xian frowned and quickly tried to deduce. About 3 days later he opened his eyes. He had a simple idea that required everyone's cooperation. Just give us the order and we'll definitely do our best. The surrounding experts echoed in agreement. Leaf Daodenier nodded, and off in the distance West Buddha said, Amit Ba. All right, then I won't stand on ceremony. Lin Xian began to voice his thoughts. Thus, these people began to attack with all their might according to Lin Xian's plan. Thunder rumbled as countless bolts of lightning fell from the sky. Shockwaves surged as the 9 white bone devil palaces violently shook. Great, it's really effective. When these experts saw this scene they were extremely shocked. As expected of the Central Emperor, his attainments and formations were so strong. Indeed, most of their formation masters were outside, trying their best to crack the nest of 10,000 dragons. There were very few formation masters who came in. They didn't expect Lin Xian's attainments and formations to be no weaker than those top formation masters outside. However, these 9 white bone palaces far exceeded everyone's imagination. In an instant, the 9 white bone palaces emitted incomparable light, sucking in all the figures in the sky. Not good, everyone be careful. Big brother Lin Xian. Big brother Xian. Murong Qingqing and Xin Jingqiu also cried out in alarm. Lin Xian waved his hand, wanting to pull the 2 of them over. However, he only caught Xin Jingqiu. Murong Qingqing and the people of the Jade Lake sacred ground were sucked away by another white bone palace. On Lin Xian's side, he also felt a powerful force enveloping him. He waved his sword light, but he couldn't destroy it. This shocked him. At the same time he felt the aura of a sage. This white bone palace was indeed not simple. He reckoned that this guardian's nest was also at the sage level. He opened the dragon sword domain and enveloped the people around him. 10,000 auras surrounded him. Soon they realized that the mysterious power around them had disappeared. And they had completely entered the white bone palace. No way, this white bone palace was actually so big. It must have formed its own world. The cultivators from the sacred ground and the great sects who followed them in were also discussing animatedly. What should we do, Lord Central Emperor? Many people came to Lin Xian's side to seek help. Lin Xian's eyes flickered as he looked around. Let's go forward and take a look. He led the group and quickly rushed forward. The surrounding people followed behind. Of course, there were also many people who sneered and their eyes flickered. From the looks of it, they were up to no good. However, now was not the time to make a move. What a strong smell of blood. After flying for a while, the surrounding people frowned. The smell of blood in front of them was too strong. It was like a monstrous sea of blood. Lin Xian also frowned. Xin Jingqiu grabbed Lin Xian's arm. Big brother Lin Xian, are there monsters? Don't worry, it's fine. Lin Xian comforted her. A golden light appeared in his eyes, and he saw a blood pool in the sky in front of him. The monstrous blood fiendish aura came from the blood pool. The blood pool was too big. It was like a lake. Gradually, the flying cultivators also discovered the blood pool. They all gathered around it, each of them shining with boundless light as they activated their domains. What terrifying blood! Whose blood was this? Could it be the Guardian's blood? It was too scary to not know. Look at the blood. There are broken armor and weapons in it. Everyone exclaimed. Sure enough, there were broken weapons in the blood pool. Among them, a few cultivators were jealous because their weapons were broken. However, they thought that it should be an extremely terrifying existence. It would be great to be able to get 1 or 2 fragments. 2 of them attacked. One of them directly grabbed at the blood pool. As for the other person, he took out a whip and swept it toward Chu Feng. The person who entered the blood pool with his bare hands immediately turned into white bones. His flesh and blood disappeared. Not only that, his entire body also quickly melted and finally turned into a pool of blood and merged into the blood pool. The other person screamed crazily. The whip in his hand had also completely melted and broken. Fortunately, he reacted quickly and threw away the whip, saving his life. However, he did not dare to go forward anymore. The surrounding people were also terrified. The 2 who attacked just now were peerless powerhouses, but they could not even withstand the power of the blood pool. If the others attacked, they would be completely finished. What kind of blood was this? It was too terrifying. Was it from an invincible king? Or a terrifying demon king? It might not be from one person. Didn't you see that person turn into a pool of blood just now? It was very likely formed by the blood of countless powerhouses gathered together. This place is too terrifying. Let's go. Many people's scalps went numb and they prepared to leave. Big brother Lin Xian, let's go too. Xin Jingqiu also asked. Chapter 27-22. With the help of the heavenly secret divine eyes and his powerful soul power, he finally saw through the blood sea and saw the situation inside. This is? He was shocked because he found that there was a heart in the blood pool. No, to be exact, it was something like a heart. It was beating rhythmically, and every time it beat, it would make the blood sea surge. Lin Xian found that the heart had powerful energy. This was an endless treasure trove for him. Not only for the 9 yang divine body, but also for the dragon sword soul. Now that he saw it, how could he give it up? In the next moment, he snorted coldly and jumped into the blood pool. What? When the surrounding people saw this, they screamed in fear. Xin Jingqiu also exclaimed. Don't worry, Qiu, I'm fine. This thing can train my body. Lin Xian said. He asked Xin Jingqiu and the rest of the people from Immortal Palace to wait outside. He was going to cultivate here. Okay. Xin Jingqiu stood at the side with Whitey in her arms. Her big black eyes looked around. In the next moment, light flowed on her body and she began to absorb the surrounding spiritual energy. Seeing this, the surrounding people were even more shocked. God, she can absorb the spiritual energy. Is she not afraid of the murderous aura? It was rumored that Saint Girl Xixia also had a special bloodline. Maybe she had a way to ignore the murderous aura. I have to absorb more spiritual energy to improve my strength and catch up with brother Lin Xian as soon as possible. Xin Jingqiu quickly activated her mysterious bloodline. The others were hesitant. A few late-stage 8-star powerhouses put on their armor and were ready to go down to fish. After entering the blood pool, the light on their bodies made a sizzling sound, which gave them a fright. However, they found that it was okay. They could withstand it. Seeing this, the other powerhouses took action. The blood pool was very big. Even if hundreds of people went in, it would not be crowded. However, those who were below the late-stage 8-star were in trouble. They did not have the strength to enter at all. They could only wander around. Many people went to other places to search. This Lin Xian was too terrifying. Even a late-stage 8-star powerhouse would have a hard time resisting his attacks even if they wore battle armor. Yet, he was able to resist it with just his physique alone. Moreover, he was doing it with ease. As expected of the 9 yang divine body, it was indeed terrifying. Among them, a few looked at Lin Xian with unfriendly expressions. They walked up to him. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were shocked. What was the meaning of this? Someone wanted to make a move on Lin Xian? It couldn't be. Ever since the #1 prodigy, there was still someone who dared to touch Lin Xian. Did they not want to live anymore? Someone exclaimed. What do you know? No matter how strong the #1 genius is, he's still only a member of the younger generation. Look at the people who are fighting this time. Are there any members of the younger generation? This was clearly an expert of the older generation. Furthermore, there were 3 of them. It was obvious that they wanted to kill the other party. Fuck, so shameless. If you have the ability, then fight our god Lin Xian one-on-one. That's right, are you bullying our Immortal Palace because we don't have anyone? Immortal Palace's people also became anxious. Don't make a move. You guys can search for your own opportunities. Don't worry about me. Lin Xian shook his head and did not let Immortal Palace's people make a move. It was just 3 peerless powerhouses. Even if they joined forces, they could not kill him. Kid, you're very confident. However, we're not ordinary peerless powerhouses. The 3 of them walked up. 1 was an old man and 2 were middle-aged. The old man had a peak 8-star cultivation base, while the 2 middle-aged men were late-stage 8-star cultivators. When the 3 of them joined forces, they were extremely powerful. They had already surpassed the top saints. After all, no matter how strong one was, he could not compare to these powerhouses working together. The 3 of us would like to experience the power of the 9-yang divine body. The old man sneered. You want to spar with me? Sure, but if you lose, you'll die. Lin Xian's eyes emitted a piercing light. Waves of sword qi rushed out of the blood pool, causing the surrounding blood sea to surge and splash in all directions. The surrounding people were so frightened that they retreated frantically. A drop of the blood pool could penetrate an ordinary powerhouse. They did not dare to go up at all. Seeing this scene, the 3 of them also roared angrily. The old man waved his hand, and a flying sword behind him shot out, turning into a long rainbow. The other 2 middle-aged men also attacked. Terrifying auras surged from their bodies. A long saber and a long spear instantly rose into the air, firmly locking onto Lin Xian. Not only that, but the 3 of them also covered the entire blood pool with their king domains. Terrifying auras swept across heaven and earth, completely enveloping Lin Xian. Seeing this scene, the 3 powerhouses sneered. No matter how strong the other party was, so what? He was only a prodigy of the younger generation. He was nothing compared to the older generation. Moreover, this time the 3 of them joined forces. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Facing the attacks of the 3, his body bloomed with billions of rays of light, and waves of sword qi rushed out. With a boom, he struck out with his palm. The terrifying palm turned into a golden crow, covering the sky and earth, and charged over with a scorching aura. That palm was too terrifying. It made people think that an immemorial golden crow had been resurrected. The 3 king domains were instantly pierced through. The flames that filled the sky ignited the surrounding spirit qi, forming a monstrous fire. Bang, bang, bang. He waved his palm and slapped the 3 people's weapons, sending them flying. The 3 figures were also forced back. The qi and blood in their bodies churned, and their bodies were dyed black. Damn it! A golden crow? How did he know such a cultivation technique? Don't worry, I have the water of 3-yin. The old man's face was gloomy. He opened his mouth and spat out a blue pearl. The pearl turned into waves and surrounded them, dissipating the scorching energy. The water of 3-yin enveloped the 3 of them, and the 3 of them attacked again. Kid, let's see how you're going to hurt us this time. The 3 of them sneered again and charged over with their weapons. Lin Xian snorted coldly, and his eyes were filled with disdain. He continued to wave his palm, but the golden crow disappeared and was replaced by majestic mountains. The void trembled and quickly collapsed. 3 mountains appeared, each of them piercing into the clouds. Oh my god, is this a divine power? Why do I feel that Lin Xian has directly pulled out 3 mountains? Yes, it's too realistic. Even the stones and trees on it are lifelike. What divine power is this? The surrounding people were shocked. The pupils of the 3 peerless powerhouses also constricted. It was too terrifying. The other party could summon golden crows and huge mountains with just a wave of his hand. Each of them was extremely realistic. How did they evolve? Was there such a terrifying divine power in the world? They didn't know. However, they didn't have time to think too much. The 3 mountains descended from the sky with an extremely terrifying aura. Before they arrived, they were already out of breath. Damn it! Block it for me. The 3 of them quickly attacked the 3 mountains. Bang, bang, bang. The sky shook and the earth shook. The 3 of them vomited blood and flew backward. One of them was directly crushed into a bloody mist by the mountain, and his body split open. The late-stage 8-star peerless powerhouse screamed and wanted to retreat. Chapter 27-23. All the blood in his broken body had been sucked away. Originally he could still recover from this injury, but in this blood pool he was killed. Only a pile of white bones floated in the sea of blood. Damn it! There was something wrong with the blood pool. Seeing this scene, the other 2 were so scared that their scalps went numb. Retreat. They did not dare to fight anymore. If they were injured, they would probably be swallowed by the sea of blood. The 2 quickly retreated. Lin Xian sneered. Want to leave? Stay here for me. He waved his hand and the dragon scissors that he had just obtained flew out. The dragon scissors expanded in the wind and turned into two dragons that coiled around the two. Lin Xian snorted and broke through the sea of blood, appearing beside the two. In his palms, two balls of sword light flashed and slapped on the heads of the two. Boom, boom. The two peerless experts were killed. Their bodies exploded and turned into a bloody mist. The two souls wanted to escape. However, soul fire. The heavenly secret divine eyes opened and completely destroyed the souls of the two. In an instant, the three peerless experts were killed. Dead? Were they all dead? The surrounding people were shocked. In the blood pool, the other experts were even more terrified. This method was too powerful. The three older experts were no match for the other party even if they joined forces. Could it be that only an invincible king could suppress the other party? Perhaps, no one below the invincible king level was a match for the other party. Someone sighed, and the others sucked in a breath of cold air. Lin Xian snorted. If you want to fight me, you have to be prepared to be killed. At this point he ignored the others and went all out. The dragon sword spirit domain behind him flickered and enveloped him. It formed a dragon head, opened its bloody mouth, and began to crazily devour the sea of blood. Was this brat still human? He dared to absorb so fiercely. Wasn't he afraid of being devoured by the murderous aura in the sea of blood? The surrounding people were stunned. The experts in the blood pool were even more terrified. They were carefully absorbing the energy in the blood pool bit by bit, but the other party was directly devouring it. Comparing oneself to others was really infuriating. Lin Xian was surrounded by sword light, so no one could see what was going on inside. At this moment, the nine-yang divine body was fully activated. Countless mysterious runes flickered, allowing the baleful aura of the blood sea to attack and temper his body. Not only that, but there was also a dragon-shaped sword shadow in front of him. It transformed into a swimming dragon and crazily absorbed the surrounding sea of blood. Most of the blood sea's energy was channeled into the great dragon sword soul. The great dragon sword soul kept roaring. Clearly, the energy in the blood sea had revived the great dragon sword soul. It was very excited, and in the end it took the initiative to absorb it. Dragon roars resounded in the blood pool, scaring everyone into a state of panic. Damn, why do I feel like he's a dragon? Don't talk nonsense, this is the guardian nest of the nest of 10,000 dragons. Don't talk nonsense. If a dragon really jumps out, we will be finished. But what was with that dragon roar? I don't know. This brat must have obtained some special inheritance. No one dared to talk too much. The other powerhouses had bitter looks on their faces because the blood in the pool was decreasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. This caused the corners of their mouths to twitch. Damn it, someone took out a huge cauldron and began to forcefully absorb the blood. Bang. However, after absorbing more than half of it, the huge cauldron suddenly exploded into pieces with a bang. The blood that filled the sky fell again. The powerhouse who attacked was also sent flying and vomited large mouthfuls of blood. The expressions of the others changed. Not good, the energy of the blood was too terrifying. Ordinary weapons couldn't withstand it at all. Even a heaven-grade weapon would have to be careful. It wouldn't be able to withstand it at all. Damn it, what did that brat use to forcefully absorb it? It should be a half-step saint artifact in his hand. It was very likely. Wasn't the number one prodigy's half-step saint artifact snatched away by him? Not only that, but I heard that Yan Nanshan's sister was also beaten up by him and had a half-step saint artifact snatched away. What, there was such a thing? Are you saying that South Emperor's sister was also beaten up by him? Heavens! These people were horrified. This was big news. South Emperor was not inferior to Lin Xian. She was South Emperor's biological sister, and it was said that South Emperor doted on her very much. She was also the little princess of the Yan family. How could such a person be beaten up? This Lin Xian of Zhonghuang didn't give any face at all. These people discussed. Lin Xian heard these words and didn't explain anything at all. He was just absorbing with all his might. He could feel that the power of the Dragon Sword Soul was becoming stronger bit by bit. Moreover, not only the Dragon Sword Soul, but his divine body and even himself were also absorbing the energy in the blood pool now. His cultivation was still at the mid-stage of 7-star. It seemed that it was about time for a breakthrough. However, his absorption speed was much slower than the Dragon Sword Soul. After all, no matter how powerful the art of longevity was, it had to evolve the murderous aura inside. Otherwise, his nature would definitely be affected and he would definitely go crazy. However, Lin Xian wouldn't let go of this opportunity. Even if it was slow, he wouldn't give up. Just like that, he quickly absorbed and improved his cultivation, the power of the 9 Yang divine body, and the recovery of the dragon sword soul. After 3 days and 3 nights, more than half of the blood pool was gone. This scene directly shocked the surrounding people. Their eyeballs were about to pop out. When the others saw that they couldn't collect the blood pool, they also desperately cultivated in the blood pool. However, on the 4th day there was a change. Bang, bang, bang. A violent vibration occurred in the blood pool. It was getting stronger and stronger. Accompanying it was an angry roar. The roar was very vague. It sounded like a human and a beast at the same time. It was an angry roar that shook the surrounding people. Many people vomited blood and their faces turned pale. It was too terrifying. Who was it and who was it? These people were terrified. The people in the blood pool looked as if they were struck by lightning. Each of them shone brightly and roared crazily. Lin Xian also opened his eyes and frowned. It was that heart. A golden light appeared in his eyes as he stared at the blood pool. As expected, the heart was beating much more violently than before. Could it be that he had absorbed too much blood and angered the heart? However, it was fine if it was angry. According to Lin Xian's original plan, he wanted to directly snatch the heart. That was because the energy of the heart was too strong. Naturally, he wouldn't let it go. With a cold snort, Lin Xian raised his hand and waved his arm. At this moment, his physique was so strong that it was even more terrifying than a heaven-grade treasure. Therefore, this was equivalent to a heavenly sword slashing down. Boom. The blood pool was cut in half and a huge crack appeared. The blood water that filled the sky was split apart. The warriors in the blood pool exclaimed and dodged one after another. Chapter 27-24. The heart was as big as a millstone, and it was covered with mysterious blood-red patterns. As it pulsed, it carried boundless power. What kind of heart was that? How could there be such a big heart? It belonged to a peerless monster king. Heavens, who was the one who formed this pool of blood? How could it nurture such a terrifying thing? Could it be that the previous roar came from the heart? These people were shocked. Many of them flew into the air, not daring to stay any longer. Because this blood pool was too strange, too evil. However, there were still some powerful martial artists who continued to stay. Many of them even began to have designs on the blood-red heart. The heart of 10,000 blood. They did not expect to encounter the heart of 10,000 blood here. It seemed that they were really lucky. A loud voice sounded and everyone's scalp went numb. They looked up. A figure stepped into the air and appeared in the sky in an instant. The heart of 10,000 blood? What was that? Someone frowned. Someone else snorted. Humph, if you want to snatch the heart, you'll have to ask us first. A peak 8-star powerhouse snorted coldly. There was a cold light in his eyes. This was a powerhouse from the moon-worshipping cult. A full moon rose behind him, exuding a terrifying aura. Buzz, the mysterious powerhouse, came from above and sneered. 2 rays of sharp light shot out from his eyes, which turned into 2 sharp swords and stabbed downward. Boom. The moon-worshipping cult powerhouse felt as if he had been struck by lightning. His body was penetrated. The full moon behind him shattered into pieces and exploded with a loud bang. Oh no. The moon-worshipping cult powerhouse quickly retreated, trying to escape. In the sky, the mysterious powerhouse slapped down with a palm. It turned into a white tiger with endless power and directly enveloped the powerhouse. With a boom, the moon-worshipping cult powerhouse was shattered into pieces. He was killed by the white tiger. Dead. A peak 8-star expert was killed with a single move. Oh my god, who was this person? Could it be that he was also a top genius with a title? They were extremely shocked. Lin Xian also frowned as he looked forward. No, the other party was not from the younger generation. He was an invincible king. Everyone retreat. Some powerhouses exclaimed. The others were horrified. An invincible king god. This person who looked to be in his 30s turned out to be an invincible king. They could not believe it. However, after seeing the other party's means, these people did not dare to have any doubts. They frantically retreated, not daring to get close at all. The people of Immortal Palace and Purple Dawn Holy Land also protected Shen Jingqiu and quickly retreated. Shen Jingqiu's jade-like face was extremely solemn. Facing Invincible King, she naturally felt the pressure. The snow-white little monkey in her arms also had big eyes. King. Big brother Lin Xian will be fine, right? Shen Jingqiu was nervous. The immortal of the God King. Peacock said. Don't worry, the palace master has a lot of trump cards. An invincible king wouldn't be able to kill him. In the blood pool, the experts from the other holy lands and sects fled one after another, leaving only Lin Xian behind. Seeing this, the invincible king above sneered, extremely satisfied. But soon he frowned. This was because he realized that there was still one person who hadn't left. "You're courting death." He sneered and flicked his finger. Immediately, a silver flame turned into a stream of light and rushed down. Seeing this scene, the surrounding martial artists all exclaimed. The people of Immortal Palace were also extremely nervous. The others screamed. One had to know that the other party had killed a peak 8-star Almighty with a casual attack. That method could be said to be incomparably terrifying. Now he actually attacked Lin Xian. It's over. Lin Xian is too arrogant. He's actually so arrogant in the face of an invincible king. That's right. If I were him, I would definitely retreat. No matter how strong he was only from the younger generation. Against an invincible king he was probably not enough. These people discussed animatedly. Of course there were also many people who sneered. Great, let the invincible king kill this kid. If an invincible king attacked, this kid would definitely die. Who asked this brat to continue acting cool? Now he was out of luck, offending an unrivaled king. As they spoke, the silver-white flame still came down, wanting to pierce through Lin Xian. Buzz boom. Lin Xian raised his hand and turned into a golden crow. He rushed over and collided with the silver flame. The flames jumped and splashed in all directions. The silver flame was quickly extinguished by the golden crow. What, he blocked it? Oh God, has the Central Emperor become so terrifying? He can actually compete with an invincible king. Those people were shocked. Xin Jingqiu and the others heaved a sigh of relief. Above, the invincible king frowned. Blocked, the other party actually blocked his attack? Who is this? Could it be an invincible king? Silver light flickered in his eyes as he looked down, wanting to see everything clearly. No, it's not the aura of an invincible king. He snorted coldly and waved his hand. A gust of wind blew up, forming two huge wind blades that directly cut open the blood pool below. It was a young man. He frowned. Kid, who are you? Who are you? Lin Xian also stood up and asked with a frown. Although the other party was an invincible king, he didn't have much fear. After all, he had many trump cards. Moreover, a long time ago he had also killed an invincible king, so he wasn't afraid of the other party. If the other party dared to disturb his cultivation or snatch something he wanted, he would still attack the other party. Seeing the other party's attitude, which was neither servile nor overbearing, the invincible king frowned. Who didn't have to be respectful when they saw him? Even the weak ones had to kneel down to him. However, this young man in front of him was so calm. This was unbelievable. He frowned. He seemed to have heard the people around him call him Central Emperor. Could it be that this kid was the Central Emperor of Central State who had recently received 5 titles? Lin Xian? You're the kid who received a title in Central State? That's right. I am. Who are you? I'm the White Wolf King. Kid, let me give you a piece of advice. The younger generation is still the younger generation. They can't be compared to me at all. Just now it was just a casual attack from me. You must have used all your strength to block it. Not bad. It's indeed rare for the younger generation to reach your level. No wonder you can receive the title of Central Emperor. However, against me you have no chance of winning. Leave obediently. This pool of blood is mine. As soon as these words were said, the surrounding people were shocked. He had actually received the recognition of an invincible king. This was a supreme glory. That's right, Invincible King was an existence that stood at the peak of the continent. In the era where saints didn't appear, they were the kings. These people were incomparably envious. Of course, there were also some who gritted their teeth. Damn it, this kid was so lucky that even an invincible king didn't kill him. Damn it, this was too hateful. These people were very depressed. Lin Xian had a strange expression after hearing this. Chapter 27-25. Moreover, from the other party's words, the other party seemed to know the origin of this heart and also wanted it. He narrowed his eyes and said in a deep voice, "You can retreat, but wait until I take this heart first before leaving." What, this guy actually dared to provoke an invincible king? The surrounding people were all stunned. Everyone could see that this invincible king wanted the heart at the bottom of the blood pool. However, Lin Xian actually dared to have designs on the blood-colored heart. What did he want to do? Wanted to compete with an invincible king? He didn't want to live anymore. What was this kid thinking? He didn't know. Although he was the Central Emperor, a king of the younger generation, against a true invincible king, he was probably not enough. Could it be that this kid had some super trump card? These people were puzzled, but those enemies were extremely excited. Haha, this kid was too arrogant. He actually dared to go against the invincible king. Great, I'm so excited. He originally thought that the invincible king wouldn't make a move against him, but he didn't expect this kid to court death. Just watch, the invincible king would definitely not let him go. How powerful was the invincible king? He was a peak existence. How could he allow others to challenge him? This kid was too arrogant. Did he think that he was invincible after obtaining the title of the Central Emperor? In fact, he was still far from it. Discussions and sneers sounded one after another. The people of the Immortal Palace also became nervous. Shen Jingqiu hugged the snow-white little monkey tightly. No way, big brother Lin Xian, please don't force it. The snow-white little monkey was hugged until he couldn't breathe. He could only roll his eyes. In the sky, the white wolf King Chen Chen's face darkened, and a hint of anger appeared in his eyes. The other party actually dared to snatch something from him? This made him feel a little unreal. How many years had it been? No one had ever dared to say such words to him. Who didn't kneel down respectfully and offer up the things he liked? Now, a young junior actually threatened to snatch the thing that he had set his eyes on. He was really in a hurry to die. Kid Dino? Among the younger generation, you are the first person who dares to speak to me like this. Don't think that you can look down on the world just because you obtained the title of Central Emperor. That's something for you young people. It's not suitable for us. Confidence was a good thing, but if one was overconfident, one would become an idiot. Even if you kneel down and beg me now, I won't spare you. Confidence was a good thing. Overdoing it would make one an idiot. The same applies to you as well. Lin Xian's eyes shone brightly. Where did you get the confidence to think that you can beat me? Just because you're an invincible king? Just because you're an elder? My title of Central Emperor was earned through fighting, and it's still applicable to you. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous and carried a biting cold aura that spread in all directions. Hearing this, the surrounding people felt their scalps tingle. They had goosebumps all over their bodies. Fuck. He really dared to go against the invincible king. Moreover, his attitude was so unyielding. No one dared to believe it. The White Wolf King's expression was even colder. He had said so much just to make the other party kneel down and obediently accept his punishment. But the other party didn't seem to care at all, and even seemed to want to fight with him. Was this kid's brain flooded with water? You don't know what's good for you. Looks like the title of Central Emperor has already made you dizzy. Alright, I'll teach you a lesson today and let you know the power of an invincible king. At this point, his eyes became incomparably cold, and his body emitted an incomparably terrifying killing intent. In the next moment he raised his palm and slapped forward. An incomparably horrifying power gushed out in all directions, instantly engulfing Lin Xian. The White Wolf King was an invincible king. His strength was terrifying, and the moment he attacked, his strength far exceeded that of a peerless mighty figure. Even a peerless mighty figure at the peak of the 8-star realm couldn't be compared to him. Boom. Get lost. Lin Xian raised his hand and threw out 3 mountains. They shook heaven and earth and collided with the palm floating over in the sky. He didn't immediately activate the Black Duo because he felt that with his current physique and strength, he could already compete with an invincible king. Sure enough, in the sky, the 3 mountains shattered. Lin Xian kept retreating, but he wasn't injured. He blocked it. What, this kid really blocked the attack of an invincible king? This was no longer a casual palm strike. This invincible king clearly had killing intent, but Lin Xian was still able to block it. It was too shocking. The White Wolf King was also surprised that the other party actually blocked it. He narrowed his eyes, and his gaze was as sharp as a blade as he stared at the other party. I heard that you have the 9-yang divine body. It seems that it's true. Alright, I'll capture you and ask for the cultivation method of the 9-yang divine body. His eyes erupted with a resplendent light. The 9-yang divine body could allow a 7-star mighty figure to block the attack of an invincible king. This was absolutely shocking. If he could obtain and cultivate it, wouldn't that mean that he would be able to resist the attack of a saint at the invincible king realm? Thinking of this, his heart burned with passion. He had to obtain this divine body. Now, it was no longer as simple as the other party provoking him. He was already filled with killing intent towards Lin Xian. In the next moment he attacked again. This time his strength was even stronger than before. A palm transformed into a white wolf and descended from the sky, wanting to capture Lin Xian. A mere white wolf dared to compete with a true dragon? Lin Xian snorted coldly. With a wave of his palm, the surrounding sword Qi sword. A giant dragon roared out and fought with the white wolf in the sky. At the same time he frantically absorbed the power of the blood pool again. This power was all integrated into the Great Dragon Sword Soul, causing the Great Dragon Sword Soul to quickly recover. 9 dragon-shaped sword Qi blocked the white wolf's palm. This scene made everyone feel incredulous. Even the White Wolf King was shocked. His face was terrifyingly gloomy. It was really surprising that the other party had the strength to contend with him. "Kid, I'd like to see how many moves you can block from me," the White Wolf King sneered. With a wave of his palm, endless spiritual energy turned into a wolf-headed saber that descended from the sky. Under the saber, the wind and clouds surged and the mountains and rivers shattered. The people in the distance trembled and found that they couldn't move. This was the power of an invincible king. Just the aftermath of this saber strike was enough to make them extremely shocked. One could imagine what kind of terrifying attack Lin Xian had suffered. Lin Xian snorted coldly and directly summoned the 9-story pagoda. He grabbed the pagoda with both hands and kept enlarging it. It turned into a mountain and directly blasted it out. There was a clang. Many people were stunned, and the White Wolf saber was blocked in midair. The 9-story pagoda also stopped there. Lin Xian felt his arms go numb. He had to admit that the power of an invincible king was too strong. Previously, when he killed an invincible king, he used the Hei 2 to seal the invincible king's cultivation, suppressing it to the late stage of 8-star. Chapter 27-26. Even though he had the 9-yang divine body, his blood was still boiling. Fortunately, his divine body had become stronger and was not damaged. Sensing this, Lin Xian laughed 3 times. He quickly moved his arm and crazily waved the 9-layered pagoda. At the same time, he grabbed the flood dragon scissors with his other hand. The 2 flood dragons also attacked. He used the 2 half-saint artifacts and attacked crazily, causing the wolf head blade in the sky to tremble. "Damn kid, you're courting death." Seeing that his opponent not only blocked his attack, but also wanted to counterattack, the White Wolf King was furious. As the saber slashed down, it was as if a divine wolf had pounced on Lin Xian. The earth-shattering power caused the blood in Lin Xian's body to churn. The 2 half-saint artifacts were also trembling non-stop. "Kid, I didn't expect you to have so many treasures. You even have 2 half-saint artifacts. After I kill you, all of them will be mine." The White Wolf King was too excited. This kid's wealth was too rich. Even he was envious of him. Lin Xian felt a great sense of danger. He fought back crazily. The 9-yang divine body released divine fire, and the 2 half-saint artifacts in his hands were even more powerful. The 2 of them exchanged more than 30 moves. The surrounding space shattered and a sea of blood surged. The blood-red heart was beating crazily. It was a scene of apocalypse. Lin Xian kept retreating. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. The White Wolf King's face was also gloomy. After more than 30 moves, he still couldn't take down his opponent. He only managed to injure him. He couldn't believe it. If word got out, everyone in the world would be shocked. "Kill!" Lin Xian roared. The flood dragon scissors once again turned into a flood dragon and charged out, instantly entangling the White Wolf King. "This flood dragon scissors is truly a treasure. Unfortunately, your strength is simply too weak." The light around his body turned into countless divine wolves and forced the flood dragon back. Too strong. As expected of an invincible king. Even a half-saint artifact couldn't do anything to him. Yes, Lin Xian was very strong, but he was still of the younger generation. Against an invincible king, he had no chance of winning. Quite a few people shook their heads and sighed. Some of them even sneered. This brat was definitely going to die. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He put away the flood dragon sword and the 9-layered pagoda. His body was still glowing. "What? Are you giving up on resisting because you know you're going to die? Obediently hand over the 2 half-saint tools first." The White Wolf King laughed wildly. "I'm scared. What a joke. Next I'll show you my true strength." The light in Lin Xian's eyes grew brighter and brighter. He slowly grasped the dragon-shaped sword in the blood pool. What did true power mean? Could it be that this brat had not used his full strength before? How could this be? What a joke. He had even taken out 2 quasi-sage tools. What else did he have? Saint's Hand Bone and Flower Protector? It's almost as powerful as a half-saint tool. That's right, this kid is obviously bragging. These people didn't dare to believe it. The White Wolf King even sneered. "Brat, stop boasting. What other trump cards do you have? Show them all. You can't hurt me at all." The White Wolf King was disdainful. However, his smile soon froze. His face even became gloomy and ugly. That was because a dragon-shaped sword shadow had appeared in the blood pool in front of him. The sword shadow was like a swimming dragon that circled in the sky. When it appeared, it emitted an extremely powerful aura. Even he felt a sense of threat, and his heart thumped wildly. The surrounding people were even more stunned and speechless. Many of them were prostrating on the ground. They were suppressed by this power and couldn't stand up at all. It's too terrifying. What is that? Heavens, this kid actually has a treasure. Is that a dragon? He's actually holding a dragon in his hand. No one knew. No one knew what Lin Xian was holding in his hand. The White Wolf King's eyes also emitted a piercing cold light. He could feel that the dragon-shaped sword shadow in his opponent's hand was even more terrifying than the two half-saint tools. This is a supreme treasure. I must get it. The White Wolf King's eyes burned with killing intent again. Kid, it seems like you're really a gift boy. Don't worry, I'll give you a quick death. I won't let you suffer so much. Who asked you to give me so many treasures? Ha ha. He laughed loudly again. In the next moment, 5 white wolves rushed out from his body. Each of them was extremely powerful. They were like real divine beasts as they roared in the sky. The 5 white tigers rushed downwards in a frenzy and enveloped Lin Xian. The terrifying aura directly pierced through the blood pool and shattered the void. In the face of such a terrifying attack, Lin Xian's expression turned solemn. He took a deep breath and slowly raised the dragon-shaped sword shadow in his hand. At this moment, the dragon-shaped sword shadow was still surrounded by endless blood. That was the blood in the blood pool that had not been completely absorbed. Therefore, the dragon-shaped sword shadow carried a monstrous blood aura. Kill. With a furious roar, the dragon-shaped sword shadow slashed down wildly. Streaks of dragon-shaped sword chi burst forth and collided with the 5 white wolves in the sky, releasing destructive energy. 5 wolves/sky blade. The White Wolf King waved his long blade, and the 5 white wolves let out earth-shattering roars. Every white wolf was an earth-shattering blade light. When they collided with the dragon-shaped sword chi, the power was not inferior to the collision of 2 half-step sacred artifacts. With a boom, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Countless large cracks spread in all directions, and the surrounding people were all pushed back. Shen Jingqiu let out a delicate cry. Purple chi surrounded her body and wrapped her body. The martial artists of Immortal Palace and Purple Afterglow Holy Land also quickly retreated. Woo 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 woo, the snow-white little monkey also jumped out and stared ahead without blinking. In front, the true dragon and the white wolves were fighting, destroying everything. Terrifying divine power was vast and mighty, and terrifying energy was everywhere. In the end, Lin Xian waved the ancient dragon abyss sword again and killed in all directions, destroying all the violent energy. In an instant, the sky was clear again and large cracks spread rapidly. Behind him, the dragon sword's spiritual domain turned into a dragon head and crazily absorbed the blood pool's energy. In front, the White Wolf King's face was gloomy. Kid, I have to say, you are really surprising. You can actually fight with me for so long. However, this also shows how terrifying the 9 young divine body and the dragon-shaped sword in your hand are. After I get it, I can definitely contend against a saint. He was really too excited. He didn't expect to get such a great opportunity here. Lin Xian's expression was solemn. An invincible king was definitely not weak. He was stronger than any of the geniuses. He definitely surpassed the number 1 genius. There was nothing he could do. The other party was not of the younger generation, but a super expert who had lived for thousands of years. Moreover, the other party's talent was definitely top-notch. The fact that Lin Xian was able to contend with him had already stunned everyone. However, it was still not enough. Not only that, his goal was the Great Emperor. He believed that when the Great Emperor was young, he could definitely defeat an invincible king. Therefore he had to do it today. With a furious roar, the 9 young divine body on his body bloomed with dazzling light and turned into a golden war god. Lin Xian's entire body seemed to have turned into a divine sword, cooperating with the ancient dragon abyss sword in his hand. One with the sword. Heavens, this kid could actually reach this realm so easily. In the distance, many swordsmen exclaimed. The White Wolf King sneered. One with the sword is powerful, but I can also achieve it. He also merged with his frenzied blade, emitting a peerless aura. Kid, your strength is not enough to threaten me. The White Wolf King sneered. I will let you know what it means to be a true king of killing kings. He took a step forward and soared into the air. 5 divine wolves appeared behind him again. These 5 were not the same as the previous ones but 5 different colors. Each of them was extremely terrifying and carried an extremely shocking power. These were 5 heaven and earth variants. Heavens, this White Wolf King is too terrifying. He actually killed 5 wolf-type heaven and earth variants. Their souls had fused with their own saber intent. What is he trying to do? Is he trying to defy the heavens? What, are you saying that those are the souls of 5 peerless demon kings? The surrounding people were terrified. It had to be said that this White Wolf King was too terrifying. Indeed, these 5 phantoms were like peerless demon kings roaring fiercely. Their bodies bloomed with tens of thousands of rays of light, and their terrifying killing intent connected into a cage, completely enveloping Lin Xian. Lin Xian stood in the sea of blood, his body emitting light. The sword qi in his hand surged. He had fused with the sword, becoming a sword god. Waving the ancient dragon abyss sword in his hand, waves of shocking sword qi fought against the phantoms of the 5 great demon beasts. Strike after strike, the heavens fell and the earth cracked, the seas dried up and the rocks crumbled. The entire blood pool was completely destroyed, and the endless sea of blood surrounded it, looking even more ferocious. The blood-colored heart was also beating, floating in the sky. It seemed to want to freeze one side. Kit, stop struggling. You have no chance of winning. In front of me you can only die. The White Wolf King sneered sinisterly. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and a golden light flashed in his eyes. I was wondering what kind of elder you were. It seems that you have just entered the invincible king realm less than 200 years ago. He had the heavenly secret divine eyes and saw through the other party's secret. The White Tiger King snorted coldly. His secret was actually discovered by the other party. He didn't expect the other party's eyes to be so sharp. But so what if it's 200 years? I'm still an invincible king after all. As long as I have your treasure, I can completely kill those old invincible kings. The White Wolf King sneered sinisterly. Indeed, he had become an invincible king in the recent 150 years. Although he had only become an invincible king for a short time, once he entered the invincible king realm, his energy was completely different from that of a peerless almighty. With a wave of his hand, he could easily kill a peerless almighty. Yes. Chapter 27:27. It's just 5 demonic souls. Do you really think I can't resist? Lin Xian's voice was cold. He roared angrily, and his body trembled and emitted tens of thousands of rays of light. The entire sky shattered. The surrounding sea of blood surged, and the dragon-shaped sword shadow roared. It transformed into a true dragon and crazily absorbed the surrounding blood-colored light. Kill. He held the dragon-shaped sword shadow in his hand and swung it around. Terrifying sword light swept across heaven and earth. At this moment, Lin Xian was like a god of death. The people in the distance trembled. It was too terrifying. No one below the invincible king level could resist such a sword technique. It could definitely threaten invincible king level cultivators. Lin Xian had probably surpassed the younger generation. Yeah, why do I feel that he really has the ability to kill the other party? Stop joking. He can kill the other party? How is that possible? Isn't that heaven-defying? As soon as they finished speaking, their bodies trembled. This was because a pair of golden eyes had appeared behind Lin Xian's back, giving off a mysterious aura. Another trump card had been revealed. Everyone was shocked. The White Wolf King's expression also changed. The other party was too powerful. He had a powerful battle constitution, terrifying attacks, and now mysterious eyes. Those eyes made his soul tremble. The other party's sword light made his body and heart feel cold. Damn it, 5 wolves devour the sky. The White Tiger King also roared angrily. He was being suppressed by a brat. In the next moment, the 5 demonic wolf shadows behind him rushed over. The battle between the two was earth-shattering. At this moment, another loud roar sounded. Then, 5 demonic wolf shadows appeared on Lin Xian's side. Each of them was extremely ferocious, exactly the same as the White Wolf King. Their auras were exactly the same. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. The White Wolf King's pupils constricted. Damn it, how is this possible? How does the other party know my cultivation technique? Die, brat. He was furious. He had discovered that the other party had too many secrets. He had to kill the other party. However, the more he fought, the more shocked he became. Not only was the other party's appearance similar, but his power was also as strong as his. What's going on? The White Wolf King was extremely anxious. He had unknowingly been affected by the pair of golden eyes, and his mood was becoming more and more irritable. Impossible. How could he know my technique and divine ability? How did he do it? Actually, if the White Wolf King had calmed down, he would have been able to analyze the situation. This was not his mystique, but now he was too shocked and anxious. The golden eye in the sky possessed an incomparably terrifying eye technique. Even an invincible king would slowly fall victim to it. Therefore he now firmly believed that Lin Xian knew his mystique. However, Lin Xian really didn't know his divine ability. He had seen his opponent's divine ability and then used his great dragon sword soul to simulate it. However, its power was truly incomparably terrifying. Killed the 10 demonic tigers fought in the sky, destroying everything in their path. At the same time they disappeared from the sky. The White Wolf King also spat out a mouthful of blood. His expression was extremely wretched, and even his face had turned pale. He didn't realize that the light in his eyes had dimmed, and he was on the verge of collapsing. The White Wolf King still fell for it. The experts in the distance were shocked, and the other young disciples were puzzled. What was going on? Did you see the golden eyes? Don't forget that Lin Xian was an expert in soul illusion techniques. Are you saying that the White Wolf King was attacked by a soul attack? That was impossible. The other party was an invincible king, and his soul was extremely powerful. Was Lin Xian's soul already able to contend against an invincible king? Someone exclaimed. The others also frowned. Even if his soul power was equivalent to an invincible king, it was impossible for him to hurt the White Wolf King. What was the White Wolf King's standard? These people didn't quite believe it, but the older generation figures shook their heads. Not necessarily. If he launched a fierce attack, the White Wolf King would naturally counterattack and defend. However, he was clearly boiling a frog in warm water. He released that very slow and hidden illusion technique, stirring up the anxiety in the White Tiger King's heart, making him uneasy. This way the White Tiger King would fall deeper and deeper into the illusion. As expected, the White Tiger King didn't even know that he had fallen for the illusion technique. But Lin Xian seized this opportunity, and the great dragon sword soul and heavenly secret divine eyes erupted together. At the same time he heavily injured the White Wolf King. With a bang the White Wolf King screamed and flew out. His soul had been impacted. There was even a sword mark on his body that almost split him in half. The blood of an invincible king instantly spilled into the void. The White Wolf King screamed in the sky, rolling and rolling, looking extremely miserable. His voice shattered the void in all directions. The martial artists of the Holy Land who were watching the battle also resisted crazily. This sound wave was too terrifying, causing their blood and chi to churn. He was injured, an invincible king was actually injured. Was this Lin Xian's method? It was too terrifying. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air and their bodies trembled. Those who were eyeing Lin Xian previously were even more terrified. Even an invincible king was no match for him? This was really the bearing of a young heavenly emperor. Impossible. How could you possibly injure me? How could you possibly break through my defenses? The White Wolf King screamed. He was too shocked. Not only did the other party break his divine ability, but he was also injured. Especially this sword strike which almost cut him in half. One had to know that he was an invincible king. His defense was much stronger than that of a peerless mighty figure. In fact, ordinary peerless mighty figures couldn't even break through his defense. However, the other party wasn't even a peerless mighty figure. Just a mere mighty figure was enough to seriously injure him. He couldn't believe it. What exactly was that dragon-shaped sword shadow in the other party's hand? Also, when did he fall for an illusion? Those golden eyes were too terrifying and mysterious, like the eyes of a god. For a moment he actually felt fear towards the young man in front of him. Kid, how dare you hurt me? I'll kill you. The White Wolf King's body shone with boundless light and quickly healed his wounds. At the same time he swallowed 2 strange petals to recover his soul power. They had never seen such a scene in their lives. Now that they saw it, they were so scared that they peed their pants. In front, the White Wolf King's face was pale and his eyes were cold. Terrifying killing intent swept through the 9 heavens like the Milky Way. The entire bone palace began to tremble rapidly. Waves of air swept through the 9 heavens. It was over. The White Wolf King was completely enraged. That kid was in trouble. Everyone trembled. Many people knelt on the ground and even more people frantically retreated. Probably no one could withstand the anger of an invincible king. Kid, you're the first young man who dared to hurt me. I'll tear you to pieces. The White Wolf King's body shone with boundless light, forming a king's domain that pressed down like 100,000 mountains. Lin Xian let out a long howl, and sword light rose from his body and swept through the 9 heavens. What invincible king! You're just SOSO. Chapter 27-28. If you provoke me, I'll kill you. Lin Xian also emitted a cold killing intent. As soon as these words came out, the wind and clouds changed color. Thunder actually fell from the sky. The others were even more terrified. Lin Xian actually wanted to kill the invincible king? Their faces were filled with shock. Fuck, this boast was too big. Although they believed that the other party could contend against an invincible king. However, this and killing an invincible king were two different concepts. Perhaps the invincible king could injure the other party because of carelessness, but killing an invincible king was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. There were so many land cards of invincible kings. Sure enough, when he heard this, White Tiger King's expression turned cold. The frenzied blade in his hand emitted a terrifying killing intent. Kill me? What a big tone. Today I'll see how you're going to kill me. His body changed, turned into a stream of light and quickly charged down. The frenzied blade in his hand continued to grow bigger, like a heavenly river, emitting a terrifying demonic aura, shattering the void that filled the sky. Lin Xian waved his hand, and the dragon sword shadow resisted the attack. With a clang, the sky fell and the earth cracked, blocking the terrifying frenzied blade. The surrounding sea of blood split open, and the heart also beat in pain. Seeing this scene, White Wolf King's expression turned cold. He had already seen the power of Lin Xian's dragon-shaped sword shadow, so he naturally knew that the other party could block it. However, he still had his trump card. Sure enough, black and white patterns appeared on the frenzied blade. It was as if a peerless demon king had come to life. The white pattern floated out, and it was even more terrifying than his treasured blade. It directly shattered the void. Even Lin Xian felt a chill down his spine. With a whoosh, these black and white patterns slashed onto Lin Xian's body. Boom. Lin Xian's 9-yang divine body actually cracked, and blood burst out, dyeing his body red. What? The 9-yang divine body was injured. The 9-yang divine body was broken. Heavens! What exactly were those black and white patterns? It was too terrifying. Everyone was stunned. The 9-yang divine body was extremely masculine. Not only was its attack power extremely strong, but its defense power was also not weaker than a saint body. Such a terrifying physique was actually injured. One had to admit that invincible kings were truly terrifying. Lin Xian also spat out a mouthful of blood as he retreated, blood flowing from his body. His expression was ferocious as he roared and frantically absorbed the surrounding sea of blood to repair his 9-yang divine body. It had to be said that his opponent was indeed very strong, but he would not be defeated. Seeing that the other party was repairing his body, the White Wolf King roared furiously, "Brat, you don't have a chance. Although the 9-yang divine body is good, you are still too weak. Today I will let you know the true power of an invincible king." Level 8 collapse. He clenched his left hand into a fist and punched out. On his fist, there were also alternating black and white lines that complemented his punch. Octane Blast was an extremely frightening martial art. After mastering it to the large success stage, 8 hidden forces would stack together and become extremely frightening. Could destroy everything. Moreover, it was incomparably strange and impossible to guard against. Evidently, this White Tiger King had already cultivated to the great accomplishment realm. 8 waves of energy surged over one after another like the waves of the sea. The void in front of him shattered in an instant, forming a terrifying black hole. The warriors in the distance were also sent flying by this energy, spitting out large mouthfuls of blood. This attack could be said to be earth-shattering. Not to mention the younger generation, even invincible kings of the same level would not dare to face it head-on. Lin Xian also felt a peerless crisis. He held the dragon shadow sword with both hands and raised it high above his head. At this moment he had become one with the dragon-shaped sword shadow, and countless sword lights enveloped him. The sword light that seemed to have transformed into a giant dragon instantly rushed forward. Dragon Man unification. In the sky, a dragon's roar sounded. Then the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The entire sky was completely split into 2 halves. Boom, boom, boom. The intense collision and world-destroying divine light made the Bone Palace shake non-stop. Outside, the ground within thousands of miles was cracking. The impact of this blow was too terrifying. Even the warriors and geniuses who were fighting in the other bone palaces raised their heads in horror. Where did this terrifying aura come from? It was too powerful. Were invincible kings fighting? Song Qianya, someone of this level, had also made a move? Countless people trembled. Between heaven and earth, the black and white lines were completely cut open. The White Tiger King's fist was also split open, revealing white bones. Screams rang out and blood splattered everywhere. The light on the White Wolf King's body dimmed. The octane collapse was extremely terrifying. Its terrifying power made the other invincible kings not dare to face it head-on. But now, the 8 types of power were destroyed by the other party's sword. There was even an extremely terrifying sword chi at his wound that entered his body and wildly destroyed it. The aura and meridians in his body were impacted. And the sharpness of this sword chi was something he could not erase in a short period of time. This was too unbelievable. He, an invincible king, could not erase the sword intent of an almighty? He could not believe it. Damn it, get out of my way. He roared crazily, and the power in his body surged, turning into a ferocious wolf that charged in all directions, wanting to erase the sword intent. At the same time, the frenzied blade in his hand swung wildly, forming streaks of murderous aura that charged forward. It couldn't be helped. The other party's unification of dragon and sword still existed and had not disappeared. Lin Xian still arrived in front of the White Wolf King. The two were very close to each other. In fact, Lin Xian could even feel the White Wolf King's breathing. The corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. How was it? Were you very shocked? Very surprised? Let me tell you, it's very easy for me to kill you. It's just that I don't want to use that trump card. Damn it. Damn it. He was suppressed at such a close distance by a young junior. What was even more despicable was that the other party had said such arrogant words. This made his lungs explode with anger. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth, and white smoke rose from the top of his head. Damn brat, don't even think about provoking me. He knew that the other party was trying to provoke him and wanted to use the illusion again. He would not give the other party a chance. Provoke you? You're too naive. What I said is the truth. You can't do it like this. Although you've become an invincible king, this is also your limit. It's impossible to take another step forward. And my ultimate goal is the great emperor. An emperor. You can't be compared to me at all. Today you'll be my stepping stone. Obediently kneel on the ground and become the soil under my feet. The light in Lin Xian's eyes became more and more resplendent, and the aura on his body became more and more powerful. That was the belief of invincibility. In the distance, the older generation figures were also shocked. So powerful. Too powerful. That was the belief of invincibility. He had actually condensed the belief of invincibility. It was really too rare among the younger generation. Yes, this kind of belief could only be condensed by very few people. His aura was too powerful and not many people could contend against it. This White Wolf King was probably in danger. Sure enough, the White Wolf King was also shocked. The aura that the other party emitted was too powerful. It was so powerful that he could not face it. This was not energy but a kind of belief. It was close to Tao but different from Tao. It was unclear but it existed. Once this belief was born, it would stimulate the potential of a cultivator. This was a realm that he dreamed of but could never reach. At this moment it was being used by a young man right in front of him. Could it be that the other party really had the potential of a young man? Chapter 27-29. He couldn't accept it. How could he lose to a brat? In the next moment, he roared angrily, and a hint of madness appeared in his eyes. A terrifying power surged in his body. On his left index finger, a black ring emitted a bright light, forming a mysterious power. This light was too terrifying. It was so bright that everyone couldn't open their eyes. They even felt that their souls were being suppressed. Oh no, what kind of ring was this? They didn't expect the White Wolf King to have such a weapon. It was too terrifying. This ring was specially made to restrain Lin Xian's soul power. Not only that brat probably couldn't sense anything. They were right. Lin Xian had closed his eyes, and his soul power was blocked. Ah, die brat. The White Tiger King laughed sinisterly again. Lin Xian was now blind and couldn't catch any of his movements. Thinking of this, he moved quickly and slashed with the treasured sword in his hand. The sword slashed on Lin Xian's body, creating a loud sound. Lin Xian was hit and retreated. A few cracks appeared on his body and he was about to be killed. At this moment Lin Xian roared angrily, "Get lost!" His sound waves contained the energy of the great dragon sword soul, forming sword waves that swept in all directions. Block, 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 block. Many sword waves blasted on the sword light, creating a shocking collision and blocking the terrifying sword light that filled the sky. Not only that, but the White Wolf King was also pushed back. Damn it, brat. Let's see how long you can resist. The ring on the White Wolf King's hand shone again. Lin Xian snorted. Do you really think your ring is invincible? You want to block my gaze? You really don't know what's good for you. He roared angrily, and a pair of golden eyes appeared behind him, emitting a mysterious vortex. Those golden eyes were too terrifying. Even if they overflowed with light, they weren't affected at all. Even the light in the sky was sucked away by the golden vortex in the god's spiritual eye. Kill. Lin Xian was truly enraged. He took out 2 more half-step sacred tools and even took out the flower protector. A terrifying power swept across the sky. One of the White Wolf King's arms was chopped off, and his body was also split open. Lin Xian's body also split open and countless cracks appeared on it. It almost cracked open. Both of them were seriously injured, but Lin Xian's recovery ability was too terrifying. The great dragon sword spirit and 9 young divine bodies might were boundless, and they recovered in an instant. Moreover, the aura on his body was becoming more and more terrifying. This scene made the White Wolf King's expression abnormally ugly. "Damned brat, just you wait, today's matter isn't over." After saying this, he turned into a stream of light, turned around and ran into the distance. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were stunned. Run. A mighty invincible king had actually run away. This was simply inconceivable. Invincible kings were existences that stood at the pinnacle of the world. They could kill an 8-star pinnacle expert with just a single palm strike. However, he couldn't beat Lin Xian. Everyone swallowed their saliva when they saw this scene. Lin Xian snorted coldly and swallowed several heavenly treasures to recover from his injuries. He ignored the White Tiger King and stared at the blood-colored heart in the sky. The most important thing now was to recover his strength. When he had enough strength, he could completely kill the White Tiger King. He would remember this grudge. The next time he met the other party, he would definitely kill the other party. Lin Xian stretched out his palm. The golden palm covered the sky and earth, turning into 5 dragons that enveloped the heart of 10,000 blood. Boom, boom. The heart of 10,000 blood crazily charged, but it couldn't escape at all. Lin Xian's palm slowly healed and completely grabbed the heart of 10,000 blood. However, at this moment, an angry roar sounded. The surrounding sea of blood surged, turning into vengeful spirits and malicious spirits that charged towards Lin Xian. He was courting death. Lin Xian stomped his foot, and a terrifying force formed ripples that spread out in all directions. All the ghostly forces and spirits were destroyed. After one strike, heaven and earth shattered and nothing could exist. Lin Xian retracted his palm and completely grabbed the blood-colored heart. In the next moment, he would move his dragon-shaped sword shadow and pierce through the blood-colored heart. A miserable sound rang out, causing everyone's scalps to go numb. Blood mist drifted in the sky, enveloping Lin Xian. The surrounding sea of blood surged into the sky as if the world was about to be destroyed. Lin Xian relied on his strong body to remain unmoved and firmly grabbed the escaping heart. The dragon-shaped sword shadow crazily absorbed the energy inside. The rain of blood hit his body, making sizzling sounds. If it was an ordinary supreme expert, he would have been pierced through long ago. However, the 9 young divine body was very terrifying. It didn't pierce through, but it still lost a lot of blood. This just happened to temper Lin Xian's body even more. The dragon roar and sword cry rang out. The dragon sword's soul crazily devoured the energy in the blood-colored heart. The huge blood-colored heart was beating rapidly, and it was slowing down at a speed visible to the naked eye. The aura of the dragon sword soul was becoming more and more terrifying. The absorption speed was very fast. After about 2 hours, the blood-colored heart became only the size of a fist. After another incense stick's worth of time, the heart was only the size of a walnut. In the end, it was crystal clear like a blood-red fruit. Lin Xian didn't let the dragon sword soul absorb anymore. Instead, he absorbed it directly. This was because this was already very pure energy. After absorbing it, he set up a formation to protect him. He sat down cross-legged and quickly absorbed it. A day later, Lin Xian opened his eyes, and a thunderous sound came from his body. A vortex appeared above his head, and hurricanes danced around him, sweeping in all directions. In the distance, those people were terrified. Many of them didn't leave, waiting for the final result. That kid broke through. Peak 7-star. Heavens, he actually broke through again. His speed was too fast. Originally, he could contend against an invincible king. With this breakthrough, could he kill an invincible king? Everyone didn't dare to imagine. How terrifying was his dragon sword shadow? This was what everyone was more concerned about. However, the dragon sword shadow had already entered Lin Xian's body, and others couldn't sense it at all. The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up, and his face was full of excitement. This time, not only did he break through to the peak of 7-star, but his dragon sword soul had also improved further. His combat strength had increased exponentially. Previously, he had to use all of his trump cards to be able to contend against an invincible king. Now he didn't need to use so much at all. As long as he sent out the Dragon Sword Shadow, he was confident that he could kill the other party. This was the power brought about by the recovery of the Dragon Sword Soul. White Wolf King, don't let me meet you again or it will be your death date. Lin Xian's eyes erupted with a piercing cold light. There must be more secrets in this bone palace. He thought that he would be able to meet the other party again. At that time he wouldn't let the other party go. Lin Xian turned around and met up with Shen Jingqiu and the others. Soon he narrowed his eyes and didn't move. Because at this moment, Shen Jingqiu was also in a strange state. A spirit power vortex appeared above her head. Not only above her head, but there were also 3 in all directions surrounding her. All the spirit energy in the entire space was poured into her body. What a magical physique. Could it be that this was the legendary spirit body? Lin Xian's eyes flickered. Gradually he became surprised because above Shen Jingqiu's head, the remaining blood seawater condensed into a blood-red bead. It was exactly the same as the one he swallowed previously. Chapter 27:30. Many people looked at this scene with fiery eyes. After all, they had seen with their own eyes that Lin Xian had broken through after eating this thing. If others obtained it, they might be able to break through as well. Therefore, many pairs of fiery eyes looked over. Lin Xian snorted coldly. A cold light appeared in his eyes as he swept his gaze in all directions. Those people trembled as if they had been doused with cold water. The fiery heat was quickly extinguished. Damn it, how dare they be greedy? If Lin Xian wanted to kill them, they probably wouldn't be able to resist at all. Retreat. One figure after another quickly retreated in a flash. Lin Xian guarded Shen Jingqiu by her side, waiting for her to wake up. Shen Jingqiu opened her eyes, raised her hand and ate the red bead. Then she sat down cross-legged. The cultivators of the Purple Dawn Holy Land were on guard. Lin Xian asked the people of the Immortal Palace to guard by her side. A day later, a terrifying aura also surged out of Shen Jingqiu's body. Obviously, she had also broken through to the peak of 7 stars. Great, I broke through. Shen Jingqiu was very happy. The people of the Purple Dawn Holy Land also cheered. Lin Xian smiled and said, Qiu is really powerful. Let's go. He pulled Shen Jingqiu and the others and flew deeper into the palace. It wasn't just Lin Xian's bone palace. The other 8 bone palaces also had battles. They also obtained treasures. Murong Qingqing, No Flower, Yi Wudao, the prince of the Great Xia dynasty, and the others all improved in strength. This kind of great opportunity could only be grasped by the top geniuses. The other cultivators trembled. These top geniuses and saints were too terrifying. They were already very terrifying. Now that their strength was increasing, how heaven-defying would they be? These people also flew deeper into the palace. However, they were soon swallowed by the white vortex and arrived at an even more fortuitous place. Where was this? The surrounding people were shocked. They seemed to have come out of the Bone Palace and arrived at the center of the 9 bone palaces. We're in. We broke through the array and came in. Those people cheered. Brother Xian. Murong Qingqing flew over from afar. Yi Wudao and the others also saw Lin Xian. Lin Xian also saw them. Of course there were some others. After Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing met, they asked about the situation. Then they looked around. The surroundings were extremely ancient and exuded an aura of vicissitudes. Obviously, this was something that had been passed down since ancient times and it was very old, and no one seemed to have entered. I wonder what kind of treasures there are in this place. Shen Jingqiu. The snow-white little monkey jumped out and looked around with its big eyes. Then, it excitedly pointed to the front. Lin Xian brought Shen Jingqiu, Murong Qingqing, and the rest of the group and quickly flew over. Regarding the snow-white little monkey's treasure-seeking ability, he had no doubts at all. With Lin Xian leading the way, the group of people was extremely domineering. Wherever they passed, the crowd would give way. No one dared to stop them. Soon they arrived in front. Lin Xian punched out, forming a terrifying hurricane that blew away all the fog. What was that? Shen Jingqiu, Murong Qingqing, and the others cried out in surprise. The 3 great sage warriors behind were also shocked. They found that there were ancient stone pillars and mysterious altars in front of them. The altars were covered with runes, and they were engraved with terrifying runes that emitted a terrifying aura. Buzz. At this moment, 5 altars in front of them emitted a bright light. They emitted a vast energy and then a drop of crystal clear blood floated out. When the blood appeared, everyone's heart sank and they couldn't breathe. The weaker ones vomited blood. Retreat. The blood was too terrifying. Everyone was shocked. What the hell was that? How could it be more terrifying than all the blood in the blood pool? These people, including the Holy Sons, were all pushed away and watched from afar. Lin Xian's eyes emitted a golden light. He was shocked. Dragon's blood, it was dragon's blood. He had drunk the blood of a dark red divine dragon before, and the blood contained such terrifying energy. However, the energy contained in the blood in front of him was higher than that of the dark red divine dragon. It must have been even more terrifying when it was alive. Could this be the blood left behind by a sage-level dragon? Lin Xian's heart was beating wildly. The other Holy Sons, and the older generation experts were also crazy. What, this was dragon's blood? Heavens, it was too terrifying. A drop of blood could crush the 9 heavens. Did dragons really exist? That was for sure. Now, even dragon's blood had appeared. That was great. They had to get it. That was more precious than any other natural treasure. Indeed, dragon's blood was rare. Although Lin Xian had drunk it before, the dark red divine dragon's cultivation was still too low. Now that there was a sage-level dragon's blood, he naturally wanted it. There were 5 of them. Hurry up. Some people couldn't take it anymore, and an overwhelming number of people rushed over. All the powerful experts of the younger generation and the older generation all made their moves, while the others had bitter expressions on their faces. They had no choice. Just the pressure of that drop of dragon's blood was enough to make them unable to resist. Not to mention snatching it. If they took 2 steps forward, their bodies would be crushed into a bloody mist. Therefore these people could only wander around. The little white monkey was very fast. It turned into a flash of white light and shuttled through the void. However, when it got close to the altar and the dragon's blood, it was bounced back. It immediately grimaced in pain, but fortunately it wasn't injured. With a whoosh, it jumped back to Lin Xian's side. Lin Xian also stopped and looked around. Get out of here. With a roar, the 9 yang divine body exploded with light. An incomparably terrifying power erupted like a volcano, sweeping in all directions. The surrounding people all used their king domains to resist. The weaker ones were directly sent flying by the energy. He wasn't the only one. At this moment Yi Wudao, Gu Santong, Wu Qin, and the others also made a move. Such an incomparably precious dragon's blood was definitely theirs. Fortunately there were 5 altars here, so Yi Wudao, Lin Xian, and Wu Qin, the 3 top prodigies who had received the title of titled prodigy, didn't fight. They each took 3 altars and looked around disdainfully. The competition for the other 2 altars was even more intense. Because there were no titled prodigies, and there were many holy sons and princes, the competition was very intense. Of course, that didn't mean that Lin Xian and the other 2 weren't fighting. Some of the stronger holy sons and the older generation experts rushed to the 3 altars. After all, in front of the dragon's blood, no one could stop them, be it Eastern Sage or Central Emperor. Qingqing Qiu, protect yourselves. Lin Xian Shenin. Shen Jingqiu and Murong Qingqing were fighting for the other 2 altars. Lin Xian couldn't go over to help, so he could only warn them from afar. Don't worry, big brother Lin Xian. It won't be a problem, big brother Xian. The 2 of them responded. Lin Xian was also threatened. In an instant, dozens of figures appeared around them. Chapter 27:31. These black figures all had cold expressions and powerful auras. They connected with each other and formed a terrifying wave that enveloped the entire space where Lin Xian was. Boom, boom, boom. The void trembled and the space cracked. Lin Xian fought with these dozens of terrifying people, forming a terrifying invisible force that swept in all directions. Terrifying black holes were floating around them. It was too terrifying. The others retreated crazily. There was nothing they could do. These 2 groups of people were too terrifying. Just the collision of invisible auras had caused such a terrifying scene. If they really fought, it would destroy the world. Therefore those who were weak did not dare to get close to Lin Xian. The blood of dragons? I'll take it. A tall figure spoke. His voice was cold. 10,000 rays of light circulated around his body and his aura was terrifying. It doesn't matter if you're a Central Emperor or not, you can't stop us. If you know what's good for you, hurry up and get lost. Otherwise your end will be very miserable. That's right, no matter how strong you are, you're still from the younger generation. You can't fight against so many of us. Hurry up and get lost. The dragon blood is ours. A cold voice resounded, shaking the 9 heavens. A terrifying killing intent swept through the surroundings. If you want this dragon blood, let's see if you have the qualifications and ability. Lin Xian sneered. His 9-yang divine body bloomed with golden light. He was like a sun war god descending from the sky. Terrifying sword chi surged out from his body and swept through everything. Since that's the case, don't blame us for taking action. These people sneered. Although Lin Xian was powerful, they didn't think that he would be able to fight against them in such a situation. One had to know that these dozens of people were all terrifying peerless experts. At this moment, nothing could stop them. Boom. In an instant, the aura of dozens of people suddenly erupted, shattering heaven and earth. The sky was filled with light and terrifying divine abilities. They attacked Lin Xian from all directions. Lin Xian snorted coldly. His eyes erupted with a biting cold light. He did not hold back at all. He pulled out the Dragon Abyss Valley sword and directly attacked. He used the Yin-Yang 8 steps and his speed reached the limit. In an instant, a great battle broke out. Not only them but the other 4 altars were also in a fierce battle. As for Leaf Dowdenier and Dustless, they were being attacked by powerful experts who were no weaker than Lin Xian. The other 2 altars were even more terrifying. The young geniuses and holy sons were all madly trying to snatch that drop of dragon blood. A resonant dragon's roar resounded from Lin Xian's body. A dragon image rushed out, roaring in all directions. The surrounding void trembled, and the blood of the blood dragon trembled violently. The dragon blood surged, transforming into a giant dragon shadow. An incomparably terrifying pressure spread out, causing people to tremble. The expressions of the experts who had attacked also changed. Damn it, this brat can actually resonate with the dragon blood. How did he do it? The faces of these peerless experts were filled with shock. Previously, they had thought that they would definitely be able to kill the other party if they joined forces. But now they realized that they were wrong. The other party's methods were simply too bizarre. Even if all of them attacked together, they still wouldn't be able to do anything to him. Especially now, the other party actually had such a strange connection with the dragon blood. Lin Xian naturally summoned the Great Dragon Sword Soul. The Great Dragon Sword Soul was a type of dragon sword soul. Naturally, it could form a connection with the dragon blood. Lin Xian wasn't surprised by this scene. He held the dragon-shaped sword and killed in all directions. Streaks of dragon-shaped sword chi danced in the air, sweeping across heaven and earth. The peerless experts were all sent flying while vomiting blood. Many of them were directly cut in half, and even more of their bodies were broken. They vomited large mouthfuls of blood and fled frantically. Blood spurted out, dyeing the void red. All sorts of wails and screams rang out. Lin Xian's side turned into Azura hell. The scalps of those who were watching from afar went numb. They trembled continuously. This central emperor was really too terrifying. Yes, no one could defeat him. So many peerless experts joined forces, but they still couldn't do anything to him. Was he still human? Not only him, but Leaf Dowdenier and Dustless were also incomparably powerful. Sure enough, everyone's gaze was also looking into the distance. Leaf Dowdenier and Dustless were also suppressing a region. As expected of peerless geniuses who had obtained the title, they were indeed powerful. This was the thought in everyone's heart. A rain of blood fell. Lin Xian stood in the void like a fiend god. There was no one around him. Dozens of peerless experts joined forces, but they still couldn't resist the power of the dragon sword spirit. If others went up alone, they would only be courting death. Especially now, Lin Xian could resonate with the dragon blood. Such a strange thing made people even more afraid to act rashly. Damn kid, it's you again. You really aren't afraid of death. There are traces of you everywhere. In the distance, a cold voice sounded. The surrounding people all turned around and exclaimed, "An invincible king." From the distant horizon, a figure flew over, turning into a stream of light and flying over quickly. A powerful aura suppressed everything. This aura made people despair. Even those peerless experts were shocked. Because this was the low profile of an invincible king. An invincible king, a 9-star king, the last stage of the king realm, was extremely powerful. Even an invincible king has made a move? That kid is dead for sure. Everyone was shocked. After all, invincible kings were godlike existences in their eyes. Of course, there were also some people who had experienced the Bone Palace with Lin Xian, and their expressions became very strange. They had seen with their own eyes that Lin Xian defeated the White Wolf King. The shock of that scene was still unforgettable even now. The invincible king who had arrived at this moment was the White Wolf King who had escaped earlier. After he left the Bone Palace, his injuries had completely recovered. Now that he saw the dragon blood, how could he not be excited? Even if the other party was very difficult to deal with, He had made up his mind to snatch one. You again? A defeated opponent still dares to be arrogant in front of me. I originally wanted to let you live, but since you're courting death, then don't blame me. Get over here and die. Lin Xian shouted coldly, his voice roaring in all directions. What? The others trembled and their scalps went numb. Defeated opponent? The other party actually said that an invincible king was a defeated opponent? Wasn't this a joke? Most people's expressions changed and a small number of people were extremely shocked. Sure enough, Lin Xian was too domineering. The White Wolf King's face was gloomy as he gnashed his teeth in anger. Damn brat, don't be arrogant. Last time I was careless and let you get away with it. This time I absolutely won't lose again. What did that mean? The surrounding people were dumbfounded. In that case, the invincible king in front of them was really defeated? Defeated at the hands of Lin Xian? Heavens, this was earth-shattering news. An invincible king was actually defeated by a young man. It was truly unbelievable to them. Chapter 2732. If I can defeat you once, I can defeat you a second time. Last time I was lucky enough to let you escape. This time I won't let you go. Lin Xian snorted coldly, and sword chi splashed out from his body. The great dragon sword soul rumbled and terrifying sword waves surged out, sweeping through the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Everyone trembled and couldn't help but want to kneel down. The White Wolf King's expression also changed. He realized that Lin Xian's strength was even stronger than when he fought with him previously. Damn it. He gritted his teeth. How long had it been? His opponent had improved again. This kind of improvement speed could be said to be terrifying. However, he would not admit defeat, because he knew that his opponent must have obtained the heart of 10,000 blood to become so powerful. And now, the effect of a drop of dragon blood definitely surpassed the heart of 10,000 blood. If he could obtain it, then his cultivation strength would instantly undergo an earth-shattering change. That was what he wanted the most. Therefore he would not leave no matter what. He had to obtain the dragon blood. In the next moment he snorted coldly and pulled out his frenzied blade. The aura on his body erupted like a comet, sweeping in all directions. The aura of an invincible king covered the sky and earth, spreading in all directions. The surrounding people prostrated on the ground, and the remaining people retreated crazily. Even the people on the other 4 altars looked over, and their breathing became heavy. An invincible king. Many people's pupils constricted. Yi Wudao and Wu Chen's expressions were also incomparably solemn. That was because the pressure that an invincible king gave them was also very great. The other saints and geniuses were even more as if they were facing a great enemy. They really couldn't handle such a person. Brother Xian, be careful. Murong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu were also extremely nervous when they saw this scene. Although the two of them had fought many saints and geniuses, they were very confident. However, against an invincible king they still felt a lot of pressure. Kid, go to hell. The White Wolf King roared and slashed down with his frenzied blade, bringing about a storm. A terrifying blade light descended from the sky, carrying a murderous aura that filled the sky, slashing towards Lin Xian. This sword was too terrifying. It tore apart the entire sky. The incomparably vast saber light was so bright that people could not open their eyes. Lin Xian blasted out with his sword, releasing a Milky Way-like sword light to resist the saber light that filled the sky. Boom, boom. The collision between the two brought about a thunderous sound. The void was torn apart as a terrifying energy swept through everything. The shattered saber lights transformed into wolf shadows and charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian's 9 yang divine body blossomed like a blazing sun. The terrifying flames engulfed him, burning away all the saber lights. Boom. The White Wolf King moved again. This time, it opened its mouth and spat out a large white flag that fluttered in the wind. Countless wolf shadows swayed above, and the sky darkened. A terrifying demonic aura permeated the air, as if a peerless demonic king had awoken. One after another, wolf heads fell from the sky like meteors, opening their bloody mouths and biting towards Lin Xian. Every single one of them was incomparably real and could easily kill a peerless almighty. With so many pieces, it was truly an absolute fiendish divine ability. Heaven battling divine fist. Lin Xian waved his terrifying fists and punched out. The fists were like suns as they rushed into the sky. They shattered the hammers that filled the sky. It was as if he was not fighting against an illusion, but a real primordial demon king. The White Wolf King opened its mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood on the white flag. Boundless darkness surged out and covered the entire sky. Everyone trembled. They discovered that the power of the white flag had increased explosively once again. This should be a secret technique. The White Wolf King was furious. It seemed that he was going to go all out. The powerhouses were extremely shocked. Many of them quickly retreated, not daring to move forward anymore. The powerhouses fighting on the other altars also activated their king's domains to resist. The White Wolf King stood in the air, holding the white flag with both hands and waving it with all his might. Heavenly Wolf swallows the moon. A shocking scene appeared. The entire sky darkened completely. It was as if a black hole was about to swallow everyone. What kind of divine ability was this? It was too terrifying. Many people were swept by the darkness. Their bodies turned into blood and were sucked in. Not even their bones were left. This scene was like ice and snow meeting fire. It was impossible to resist. Lin Xian was also swallowed. The space he was in had completely fallen into a black hole. It's over. That kid has been swallowed. Ah, he's dead meat. Brother Lin. Brother Xian. No flower. Murong Qingqing and the others also exclaimed. The others laughed loudly. When the White Wolf King saw this scene, the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. What Central Emperor? It's not worth mentioning at all. The last time I lost to you was an accident. This time you will definitely die. He waved the white flag and wanted to put it away. Suddenly the white flag trembled violently. The terrifying black hole trembled and shattered with a loud bang. A golden figure charged out from within. Was Lin Xian. The nine-yang divine body released the power of divine fire. Sword light surrounded his body, and a terrifying killing intent rose from the clouds. You want to devour me with a mere black hole? You underestimate me too much. Buzz buzz buzz. He waved his ancient sword and punched out at the same time, directly shattering the white flag into pieces. The White Wolf King vomited blood and flew backward, his face full of shock. This was because he had spent hundreds of years refining this flag. It had long become one with him. At this moment the white flag was broken, so he was naturally injured. Damn it, impossible. How could he be so powerful? The White Wolf King went crazy. Even invincible kings might not be able to break that white flag, but the other party had easily shattered it. How could the other party's combat strength increase so much? Could it be that the other party had other opportunities besides the heart of 10,000 blood? He didn't dare to imagine. How could he know that every time the great dragon sword soul awakened, the power it brought was incomparably terrifying? The current Lin Xian was completely different from how he used to be. The surrounding people also went crazy. Apart from a small number of warriors who had stayed with Lin Xian before, they knew about this scene. This was the first time the others had seen such a scene. They were terrified. They didn't dare to imagine that an invincible king would be injured. Moreover, he was injured by a young junior. Was this a dream? Damn it, that kid used an illusion again. Yes, this must be an illusion. How could this be real? Those people shouted crazily, their faces full of disbelief. In their opinion, Lin Xian's ocular technique was so strong that he must have used an illusion to trick them. However, those saints and geniuses cried out. They used a secret technique to break the illusion, but they found that it was useless. Because they weren't affected by the illusion. This was real. Chapter 2733. Lin Xian actually had the strength to injure an invincible king. The scene was really shocking. The White Wolf King's expression was cold. He swallowed the pill and a sharp light burst out from his eyes. In the next moment he raised his hand and threw out a few artifacts. The king's domain also surrounded his body. Thousand Mountain Palm. With a boom he struck out with his palm. A terrifying power rolled out, destroying the world. Countless palm shadows appeared in the sky, each of them transforming into a towering mountain that collapsed the void. This palm technique was extremely terrifying. It was also an extremely terrifying existence among the heaven-tier martial arts. At this moment, when it was used by the White Wolf King, it was truly unparalleled. Mountains circled in the sky, emitting a mysterious aura, wanting to suppress Lin Xian. Kid, go to hell. Accompanying it was the White Wolf King's cold voice that echoed between heaven and earth. Nine Suns' divine fist. Lin Xian sneered and waved his fist. A bright light lit up and terrifying flames spread. Accompanied by the fist, he rushed out. At this moment, Lin Xian was like a sun god of war sweeping through everything. The sound of an intense collision tore through the void, and a terrifying shockwave swept out in all directions. Countless figures vomited blood and were sent flying backward. The saints and prodigies also retreated. They were horrified to find that the endless mountains had been broken. Not only that, the terrifying fist also threatened the White Wolf King. But the White Wolf King quickly dodged, and the Heaven-tier artifacts beside him attacked crazily. The king's domain trembled and turned into a wolf phantom to protect him. Lin Xian changed positions and used the Yin-Yang 8 steps. With one step, he instantly arrived in front of the White Wolf King. He waved his fist and blasted a few artifacts away. The ancient dragon abyss sword slashed at the White Wolf King's body. The White Wolf King vomited blood and was sent flying again. Lin Xian followed closely and kept attacking. This time he would not let the White Wolf King go. The surrounding people were dumbfounded. Their faces were filled with shock. The weaker ones were so scared that they wet their pants. What kind of technique was this? Lin Xian was actually so strong that he was suppressing the White Wolf King? This was too terrifying. The White Wolf King was even more shocked. Although the other party had injured him last time, it seemed that he had used all of his strength. Half-saint tools and great weapons of mass destruction had all appeared, as well as that dragon-shaped sword shadow. But now, the other party did not use any of these trump cards at all. Just his current strength alone was enough to injure him. If he used these trump cards, wouldn't his opponent be able to kill him? The White Wolf King was terrified. He did not know what the other party had experienced. However, he realized that he had underestimated the other party. He tried to run away. Sky Frost Kick. He roared angrily. His legs moved, turning into streaks of light that enveloped heaven and earth. A terrifying chill appeared, freezing the world. Lin Xian was completely frozen. The others trembled, their bodies covered in a thick layer of ice. Many of them were frozen into ice cubes. It was too terrifying. This was also one of the White Wolf King's ultimate techniques. He wanted to freeze Lin Xian and then escape. Seeing Lin Xian frozen in ice, the White Wolf King heaved a sigh of relief. He reached out with his large hand, wanting to snatch the dragon blood on the ancient altar. Then he would leave. However, in the next moment he screamed. A sword light lit up, illuminating the 9 heavens and 10 lands, cutting through all the ice. This sword light was too stunning. Not only did it cut through all the cold air, but it also struck the White Wolf King's palm. Blood splattered, and the White Wolf King's hand was cut off. The White Wolf King screamed. His body shone with boundless light as he tried to heal his wound. However, his severed hand was directly turned into a bloody mist by Lin Xian's sword chi and could no longer be healed. Damn it! The White Wolf King roared angrily. He could only use his great ability to grow another arm. It's useless. Stop growing it. Go to hell. A cold light appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. He was much stronger than before, enough to kill the White Wolf King. The 9-layered pagoda and the flood dragon scissors were used by him. They were infused with the power of the great dragon sword soul and emitted an unparalleled energy. At the same time, the dragon sword domain spread out, covering a part of the world and completely enveloping the White Wolf King. Tens of thousands of sword chi crisscrossed. The others couldn't see the situation inside at all. They could only hear intense collisions and angry roars. An hour later, the light dissipated and a figure fell from the sky. It was the White Wolf King. His body was pierced by tens of thousands of swords, and his soul power was directly destroyed. His eyes were wide open, filled with endless fear and unwillingness. That an invincible king was killed. Everyone was shocked and ran away like crazy. Heavens, what kind of method was this? It was too heaven-defying. These people didn't dare to make a move. An invincible king had always been a godlike existence in front of them, but now he was killed by Lin Xian. This scene gave them too great of an impact. Not to mention these people, even the saints and geniuses were all scared. Yi Wudao and Dustless also had solemn expressions. Who else wants to compete with me for the dragon blood? Come out. Lin Xian pointed his sword in all directions. He put away the White Wolf King's storage ring and looked around coldly. The surrounding people shook their heads and quickly lowered their heads, not daring to look at him. Because Lin Xian's gaze was like a divine sword, piercing through them. The older generation experts also had solemn expressions and didn't dare to make a move. Although dragon blood was good, one needed to be alive to enjoy it. Seeing that no one dared to make a move, Lin Xian coldly snorted. He turned and walked towards the ancient altar in front of him. Countless people looked over with envy. Lin Xian suppressed everyone. Did he really want to obtain the dragon blood? Even Yi Wudao and Dustless's eyes flickered because the experts on their side hadn't retreated. But soon their pupils shrank and a look of disbelief appeared in their eyes. It wasn't just the two of them. The surrounding people were stunned. Even Lin Xian stopped in his tracks. His gaze was gloomy as he stared ahead. That was because there was a figure in front of him, blocking his path. Who is this? How dare he act so recklessly? That's right. Lin Xian of the Central Emperor is so powerful. He can even kill an invincible king. Who is this person? Could it be another invincible king? I don't know. His aura is so mysterious. It makes my hair stand on end. An expert said in a deep voice. The others also had solemn expressions. Needless to say, the person who dared to come out at this time must be a peerless expert. Someone from the Yin-Yang sect. Lin Xian frowned. He had the heavenly secret god eyes, so he could naturally see that the other party had extremely strong yin and yang qi. Someone with such an aura must be from the Yin-Yang sect. You have good eyesight. You can see my aura at a glance. The person in front of him said in a deep voice. The surrounding people were in an uproar. What? He's from the Yin-Yang sect. Chapter 2734. That's right, he was indeed from the Yin-Yang sect. However, his yin-yang qi was very advanced and could transform into other auras. However, his origin energy was still yin-yang qi. An expert from the yin-yang sect? Even the yin-yang saint had been killed by him. There were probably no experts among the younger generation in the yin-yang sect who could compete with Lin Xian. That's right. Could he be an elder from the yin-yang sect? Everyone was discussing and guessing the identity of the person in front of them. Lin Xian was also very curious. Just as the people around him were discussing, he had killed the yin-yang sect's saint. Who else in the younger generation could be his match? Could it be that this person was an old monster who had lived for thousands of years? It was just that he looked young. Tell me your name. I don't kill nameless people. Lin Xian said coldly. Listen up, I'm Song Mingqing. Remember this name. When you go to hell, don't make a mistake. The person in front of them was murderous. The others were stunned when they heard this name. However, the few experts' pupils shrank. Song Mingqing. It's him. It's actually him. He actually came out too. They were extremely shocked as if they had seen a ghost. Who is this? Is this person very powerful? The young disciples around them looked at each other. They had never heard of this name. It's normal that you don't know. However, if I tell you his other title, you will know. A middle-aged man's eyes flickered as he spoke. He was the yin-yang saint of the previous generation. What? The yin-yang saint of the previous generation? Everyone was shocked and almost went crazy. The person in front of them was also a prodigy at the saint level. No, he was someone who surpassed the saint level. Although he was the saint of the previous generation, he was not more than 500 years old. If that was the case, he should be considered part of the younger generation. Indeed, at their level, it was very common for them to live for 2,000 to 3,000 years. Therefore, those below 500 years old were all part of the younger generation. Although Song Mingqing was the saint of the previous generation, he was only 400 years old. As for his strength, it was indeed very terrifying. Lin Xian was also very surprised when he heard this explanation. He did not expect the other party to be the yin-yang saint of the previous generation. This was really beyond his expectations. He narrowed his eyes and the corners of his mouth curled up into a cold smile. What, you're in a hurry to die? If I kill you too, the yin-yang sect will be humiliated. That's right, he had already killed the yin-yang saint. If he killed another saint of the previous generation, the yin-yang sect would be humiliated. You yin-yang saint of the previous yin-yang saint of the previous generation. I've already stepped into the realm of invincible kings. You're no match for me at all. Song Mingqing. I yin-yang saint of the previous. Lin Xian yang saint of the Yu. There was a yin me as me saint Y? I saint Y yang saint. Song Mingqing took a step forward, and the aura on his body swept through the 9 heavens, shocking the surrounding people. Saint Yi Yang Saint Qing Saint Battle. Heavens, just how powerful is this Song Mingqing? Lin Yong. In the distance, Yi Wudao Wu Chen and the others were also shocked. They did not expect another saint to come to Lin Xian's side. The other saints were also shocked. Fortunately, the Saint Yin-Yang saint of the previous generation was not here for them. This kid is dead for sure. Yes, he had offended the Yin-Yang sect. Now they had sent a Saint Yin-Yang saint of the previous generation to take revenge. This kid was very powerful. He had just killed a Saint Yin-Yang saint of the previous generation. Although the previous saint was powerful, it would not be easy for him to kill Lin Xian. Indeed, Lin Xian had many trump cards. What do you know? Song Mingqing was already very powerful when he was still a saint. He was one of the top saints. Moreover, he resigned from his position at a young age and went into seclusion to become a Saint Yinyang saint. His talent was extraordinary. This time he was confident that he would be able to kill Lin Yong. An expert told the Yinyang saint of the previous generation. The Yinyang sect members laughed wildly. They finally saw the hope of revenge. As expected, Song Mingqing's expression was cold. His body emitted a terrifying chill. This chill was much more terrifying than the sky frost kick used by the White Wolf King. Heaven and earth froze in an instant. The entire space condensed into one. Everyone felt their bodies stiffen and they couldn't breathe. So powerful. Song Mingqing did not move at all, but he could emit such a terrifying chill. His strength was indeed much stronger than the White Wolf King. The onlooking martial artists retreated frantically. However, even if they retreated far away, they could not withstand the terrifying chill. Their bodies trembled and their faces turned pale. Boundless cold chi coalesced in the void before him, forming a long spear that was tens of thousands of feet long. It pierced through the void and headed straight for Lin Xian. Song Mingqing had used the Yinyang Qi to the extreme. The gray spear carried a bone-piercing chill and terrifying killing intent. It became the only thing in the world. Lin Xian frowned. He had to admit that Song Mingqing was indeed powerful. If it was before, he might not have been able to fight against him. However, his cultivation had broken through, and his great dragon sword soul had improved. His strength had also undergone an earth-shattering change. Therefore he was not afraid of Song Mingqing at all. He snorted coldly and struck out with his palm. A golden palm covered the sky and the earth, carrying with it endless energy and terrifying heat. The light turned into balls of divine fire and spread to the surroundings. Lin Xian's fist was like a burning sun in the human world. The power of the purest yang had melted all of the cold qi. You want to freeze me with just a mere chill? You're too naive. Lin Xian released his 9 yang divine body and melted all the ice in the world. He looked ahead disdainfully. Show me what you've got. You'll see. Song Mingqing's gaze turned gloomy when he saw his opponent break through his yin qi so easily. 9 yang divine body. It seems that the legend is true. You really do have the 9 yang divine body. However, I wonder how far you've cultivated your divine body. If you're a piece of trash, I can still kill you. At this point, a ball of dazzling light rushed out of his body and shone between heaven and earth. Then, it turned into a huge figure. Yang Qi. Song Mingqing displayed the power of the Yang Qi again. The Yang Qi turned into a golden armored war god. It roared at the sky and was thousands of meters tall. Its entire body emitted a dazzling light. It emitted an earth-shattering power as if an ancient war god had awakened. With a furious roar, the golden armored war god's voice shattered the 9 heavens and 10 earths. So terrifying. What kind of divine ability is this? Sun God. Chapter 2735. This was the most terrifying divine ability of the Yin-Yang sect. It could only be evolved when one's Yang Qi was cultivated to an extremely high level. The previous Yin-Yang saint couldn't use such a Yang spirit at all. Because his cultivation level wasn't high enough, he couldn't use such a divine ability. However, this was nothing in front of Song Mingqing. He was an invincible king with terrifying strength. He could easily evolve the Yin-Yang sect's saint technique. Kid, you can die in peace. Song Mingqing laughed sinisterly and quickly waved his fists. Above him, the golden armored war god also attacked crazily with his movements. The terrifying fists were like meteorites and meteors shaking the entire world. Endless light flickered, and the entire space was about to be pierced through. At this moment, Song Mingqing and the golden armored war god had merged into one, and it was very terrifying. The terrifying fist directly enveloped Lin Xian. Facing such a terrifying attack, Lin Xian was not afraid. He shouted, "Today I'll let you see the power of my 9 yang divine body." His 9 yang divine body had also been improved in the blood pool in the Bone Palace. At this moment he used his full strength, and mysterious runes appeared on his body and pulsed. They blocked the energy attacks that filled the sky. He was like a golden war god. He punched out. The 9 yang divine fist carried terrifying flames that swept through the world and blasted towards the golden fist above. Boom, boom, boom. The 2 fists, one big and one small, collided in the air, erupting with 100,000 golden lightning bolts. The terrifying rumbling sound made many people bleed from their ears, and some directly fainted. The others frantically retreated, vomiting large mouthfuls of blood. The world was illuminated by the terrifying light, and those people couldn't open their eyes. Crack, crack. Crack. Just as everyone was shocked, the sound of a mirror shattering came from the front. Small cracks appeared on the huge golden fist, and they quickly spread. Like a spider web, they crawled across the entire void. There was a loud boom. The golden-armored war god's golden fist shattered and turned into nothingness. What? Lin Xian actually shattered the opponent's fist? How was this possible? Heavens! That was the Yang god's fist. How could Lin Xian be so terrifying? The 9 Yang divine rise was too terrifying. The surrounding experts cried out in surprise. This scene had shocked them. Song Mingqing's pupils also shrank. He didn't expect that the other party's 9 Yang divine body had been trained to such a profound level. He could even break the Yang spirit fist that he had conjured. Brr. He let out a furious roar as boundless light surged from his body. So what if his fist was broken? His Yang spirit was condensed from Yang Qi. As long as he did not die, his Yang spirit could be reassembled. In the next moment, boundless Yang Qi gathered on his body, causing the sun god's fist to recover. That fist turned into a palm and grabbed over again. It was like a golden cloud that covered the world. Lin Xian howled and used the 9 suns' divine fist to fight back. The two of them fought fiercely, causing the heavens and earth to crumble and the sun and moon to lose their light. There wasn't a single spot in the entire void that was left unscathed. Too frightening, these two people are too frightening. Everyone was extremely shocked. Whether it was the 9 Yang divine body or the sun god, they could not resist it. What sun god? It was nothing more than this. Watch how I break your divine ability. Lin Xian sneered as the aura on his body became stronger and stronger. On the other side, Song Mingqing's face was gloomy. He realized that he had underestimated the other party. In his opinion, he was the previous generation's son of saint and was extremely powerful. It would be easy for him to kill the other party. However, from the looks of it, that was not the case. The other party's strength had far exceeded his imagination. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, he would not have believed that a young man who was a few hundred years younger than him would have such power. It seemed that the other party did not use his full strength when he killed the White Wolf King. This kid was too terrifying. He had to kill the other party quickly. Otherwise, when the other party grew up, he would be a great enemy of his. He would be a greater threat to them. He would not allow such a threat to arise, so he had to kill the other party in the cradle. Although the other party was powerful now, it was not impossible to kill him. Thinking of this, a cold killing intent appeared in his eyes. Whoosh! Song Mingqing opened his mouth and spat out an ancient white sword. It was made of some unknown bone. It was very terrifying and emitted an extremely cold aura. The god of death's white bone sword. Damn it, it's actually such a sword. Hurry up and defend yourself. Don't be affected by it. Otherwise, our yang energy will be sucked away. Some of the powerhouses exclaimed and quickly used their king's domains to envelop their bodies. The others did the same. That was because they could still feel a cold aura invading their bodies. They could feel their energy quickly draining away. At the same time, they became irritable and crazy. It was as if they were about to have a mental breakdown. How terrifying. Just a wisp of sword light flashed across the sky, and it caused such a terrifying effect on them. It was hard to imagine how terrifying the outcome would be if they were hit by the death god's bone sword. But that was not the end. Another golden mirror appeared beside the death god's bone sword. The mirror was octagonal and looked very simple. It looked like the 8 trigrams and there were flames burning on it. The sun shone in the sky. It was another ultimate technique of the yin-yang sect. The weapon forged from the essence of the yang energy in the world was extremely terrifying when combined with the secret techniques of the yin-yang sect. It could burn and destroy everything. Song Mingqing was too terrifying. As expected of the previous generation's son of the yin-yang sect. He could cultivate the yin energy and yang energy to such an extent. An old man's face was full of shock. The other expert nodded in agreement. Yes, whether it was the sun shone in the sky or the death god's bone sword, they were not something that ordinary people could resist. Perhaps even an invincible king would not be able to resist such divine powers. Would that brat be able to resist them? It was hard to say. They wanted to see what trump cards that brat had. These people discussed animatedly. Those young prodigies trembled, and their faces were filled with despair. Lin Xian's expression was also solemn. He had to admit that these two divine powers made his hair stand on end. Do you think you're the only one with a trump card? He also snorted coldly and took out 2 half-step sage artifacts. They floated in the sky and used the power of the great dragon sword soul to push the 2 half-step sage artifacts. Boom, boom. The 9-story pagoda kept expanding. It was like a huge mountain floating in the sky with endless flames. The power it emitted blocked the power of the sun shone in the sky. On the other side, the Jiao dragon scissors kept roaring. They turned into 2 Jiao dragons and circled each other to resist the death god's bone sword. In the sky, the 4 weapons confronted each other. Just the collision of their auras was enough to cause mountains to collapse and seas to dry up. The surrounding powerhouses were shocked. At the same time, they were extremely envious. The 4 weapons in the sky were extremely terrifying. It was already very heaven-defying for an ordinary powerhouse to have one. Chapter 2736. If it weren't for the fact that Lin Xian and Song Mingqing were strong, many experts and seniors would have tried to snatch them. Seeing Lin Xian take out 2 half-step sacred artifacts, Song Mingqing's pupils constricted. Even he was shocked by the 2 half-step sacred artifacts. It seemed that the other party had many trump cards. However, he sneered. He was very confident in his 2 magic treasures. "Brat, your 2 semi-sage tools are mine." Song Mingfei snorted and launched another attack. The death god's white bone sword flew over first. It slashed down from the sky with a cold aura. It slashed open heaven and earth and absorbed the vitality in the surroundings to strengthen itself. Lin Xian felt the blood in his body churning as if it was going to rush out of his body. His 9 young divine body shone brightly, and the dragon sword soul in his body blocked the suction force. What a strange white bone sword. If he wasn't careful, he would really fall for it. The other party was strong, but he wasn't afraid. In the next moment, he activated the flood dragon scissors and turned into 2 flood dragons. They roared and collided with the white bone sword. Boom, boom. An earth-shattering sound rang out. The sword lights that filled the sky were shattered, but the white bone sword still slashed down. Clang. Lin Xian didn't dodge. He grabbed the flood dragon scissors and waved it with all his might. The 2 flood dragons were used as divine swords by him. They rampaged in all directions and fought against the death god's white bone sword. Boom, boom. The death god's white bone sword rumbled in the sky. However, at the same time, sunshines in the sky also attacked. A ray of light could pierce through and kill a peerless powerhouse. At this moment, sunshines in the sky emitted more than 10 million rays of light. When these rays of light attacked together, even an invincible king wouldn't dare to take them head-on. Lin Xian was also shocked. The masculine power displayed by the other party was no weaker than his. He was indeed a formidable enemy. The yin-yang sect's yin-yang qi was really mysterious. Lin Xian didn't take it head-on. He used the yin-yang 8 steps and moved 1,000 miles away, dodging the rays of light. Yin-yang qi. How dare you trick the yin-yang sect steps? Song Mingqing frowned. Although the footwork was very fast, he still saw the yin and yang qi. Moreover, he felt that the other party's footwork was very similar to the yin-yang sect's yin-yang chaotic steps. It had to be said that his judgment was very accurate. This was because the yin-yang 8 steps was a combination of the yin-yang chaotic steps and Heavenly Dragon's 8 steps. "Brat, you're still too inexperienced to display our yin-yang qi in front of me." Song Mingqing displayed the yin-yang chaotic steps, and his speed was also extremely fast. He urged the sun in the sky to follow Lin Xian closely, wanting to kill him. The chaotic yin-yang steps was a peerless footwork, and under Song Mingqing's feet, it was even more elusive. Lin Xian's pace was even more astonishing. The 2 of them moved quickly, dazzling the eyes of the other experts. Most of them were stunned. It was impossible to track the 2 of them. Only the top saints and prodigies and extremely powerful seniors could keep up with their speed. Lin Xian attacked again. He activated the 9-story pagoda and directly smashed it over. It was as if a black sky was pressing down. It collided with the thousands of golden lights that filled the sky, and a violent explosion occurred. He blocked it. Even the sun in the sky was blocked. Heavens, this Lin Xian was really too powerful. The 2 half-sage artifacts blocked Song Mingqing's 2 peerless Dharma treasures. This Lin Xian was going to defy the heavens. It seemed like it was certain. Would he be able to counterattack? Lin Xian was mighty. Many people who supported Lin Xian exclaimed in surprise. The yin-yang sect's experts, on the other hand, had terrible expressions on their faces. Damn it, even the previous generation's holy son was unable to subdue him? Song Mingqing's expression was also cold. He didn't expect the other party's trump card to be so powerful. It could block his Dharma treasure. In the next moment, his pupils constricted. That was because he discovered that Lin Xian had taken out another item. It was a very small bone. It was like the bone of a hand, but it exuded a monstrous sage's aura. The bone of a saint. Song Mingqing's pupils constricted. He instantly discovered the origin of the bone. He didn't dare to be careless. He was on high alert. That was right. Lin Xian had taken out the bone of a saint. He tore open some seals, making the sage's aura even more monstrous. Then he activated the hand bone and pressed it forward. With a tap of his finger, the space before Zhang Xian shattered like a mirror. It couldn't withstand that power at all. Even though the bone of a saint had been dead for tens of thousands of years, it was still incomparably terrifying and powerful. It was terrifying. The other prodigies and powerhouses on the other altars stopped fighting and retreated one after another. They had no choice. The bone saint's hand was too threatening. Song Mingqing was the first to bear the brunt. All the hair on his body stood on end. The sun in the sky and the death god's white bone sword were restrained. He couldn't resist at all. However, as the previous generation's saint and an invincible king, he still had his trump cards. In the next moment he roared angrily. The yin-yang qi on his body quickly transformed, forming a black and white gate in front of him. It was very strange and emitted a mysterious power. The yin-yang gate. Boom, boom, boom. The black and white yin-yang gate slowly opened. It was pitch black inside as if it was connected to hell. Song Mingqing shouted loudly. He formed a seal with his palms. The endless darkness inside the yin-yang gate rotated and formed a black vortex. It sucked in the attack of the saint's hand bone. Bus, bus, bus. The terrifying attack of the saint's hand bone only caused some ripples in the black vortex before it disappeared without a trace. The surrounding people were stunned. They couldn't believe that such a terrifying sage's aura was so easily dissolved. It seemed that Song Mingqing still had a terrifying trump card. It was over. Lin Xian was in danger. As expected of the previous generation's saint. He had so many trump cards. That kid even used the saint's hand bone, but he still couldn't do anything to his opponent. What do you know? Why don't you say that the previous generation's saint had used all his trump cards? He still couldn't threaten our great god Lin Xian. Lin Xian's supporters also roared crazily. That was indeed the case. The older generation experts were shocked. The two of them seemed to be evenly matched at the moment. However, they were even more shocked by Lin Xian's strength. Lin Xian was already so terrifying at such a young age. If he was allowed to grow for another 100 or 200 years, he would be heaven-defying. After blocking the attack of the saint's hand bone, Song Mingqing didn't stop. His palms quickly formed seals that became more and more mysterious. The yin-yang gate in front of him emitted a mysterious aura. Yin-yang gate of life and death, go to hell. An earth-shattering roar shook the world. Endless yin-yang qi surged and enveloped the entire sky. At this moment, everyone felt as if they had been pulled into hell. That hair-raising feeling made them shudder with fear. The yin-yang gate of life and death was actually that kind of forbidden technique. Chapter 2737. The so-called forbidden arts were generally forbidden from being cultivated. Firstly, it was very destructive, and secondly, it had extremely terrifying side effects on the cultivator. If it wasn't handled properly, not only would the cultivator fail to kill the cultivator, but they would also die. Therefore, under normal circumstances, the cultivators of the Holy Lands wouldn't cultivate it. After all, the Holy Lands had a strong foundation. Even if they didn't cultivate the forbidden arts, their other divine abilities were also very terrifying. However, in every Holy Land, there were people who pursued the pinnacle of martial arts and power. Although they knew that the forbidden arts were terrifying, they still cultivated it in order to pursue that terrifying power. Obviously, Song Mingqing was such a person. At this moment he was forced to use his ultimate forbidden art, the yin-yang gate of life and death. The yin-yang gate of life and death was said to be connected to hell. Once sucked in, one would be sealed in the 18 layers of hell forever, never to come out. Although it was powerful, it was also a great threat to the cultivator. If the cultivator didn't control it well, he would suffer a backlash. The result of the backlash was that the cultivator would be sealed in the 18 layers of hell. Could be said that it was very dangerous. Unless it was a last resort, it was generally not used. From this, it could be seen that Song Mingqing was obviously suppressed by Lin Xian. He had no choice but to use the forbidden art. This Lin Xian was really too terrifying. He could actually force Song Mingqing to use the forbidden art. However, this Lin Xian was probably in danger. Could he avoid the yin-yang gate of life and death? Everyone was discussing spiritedly. In the distance, Murong Qingqing and Shin Jingqiu were extremely nervous. Yi Wudao and Wuchen were also facing a great enemy. This yin-yang gate of life and death was really terrifying. If they were sucked in, they really wouldn't be able to come out. Lin Xian's body was also tense, and his eyes were emitting a cold light. He didn't expect that the other party would have such a terrifying forbidden art. He opened his Qingji God eyes, wanting to see the void clearly, but he found that there was an extremely terrifying power in the yin-yang gate of life and death that blocked his detection. This was the first time he had seen such a thing. As expected of a legendary forbidden art, it was really mysterious. Could go to hell. Song Mingqing pushed the yin-yang gate of life and death, forming a huge vortex wanting to swallow Lin Xian. Lin Xian quickly retreated to avoid this force. However, black arms extended from the vortex one after another and grabbed at the space before them. It covered the sky and pierced through the void. In an instant, 7 or 8 black arms enveloped Lin Xian. One of them grabbed Lin Xian's legs and dragged him into the distance. Not good, that brat was caught. It was over, he was going to be sealed in the 18 levels of hell. Get lost. Lin Xian roared. His 9 young divine body blossomed with light, and a terrifying divine flame burned fiercely. His power burst forth and the big black hand directly shattered. However, the other 6 hands once again enveloped him and directly pulled him into the door of life and death. He went in, that brat went in. Heavens, he's dead for sure. Everyone exclaimed. Older brother Xian. Murong Qingqing and Xin Jingxiu's faces were even paler, without a trace of blood. Yi Wudao, Wuchen and the others also looked serious. The people of the yin-yang sect on the other hand laughed loudly. Who asked this brat to be so arrogant? He's dead for sure now. From now on, what Central Emperor? What Lin Xian? There would no longer be such people in this world. Those people looked up to the sky and laughed. Song Mingqing revealed a smug smile because he was very confident in his forbidden technique. However, this time, something that he had never dreamt of had happened. In front of the yin-yang gate of life and death, a crack suddenly appeared in the black vortex. Then a huge crack appeared. A figure rushed out from inside. What? He's out? That's impossible. Song Mingqing's pupils constricted, and he was stunned on the spot. The people of the yin-yang sect were also scared out of their wits. The people around them screamed. It was Lin Xian. He had rushed out. That was impossible. Didn't the legends say that the forbidden technique could seal the 18 levels of hell? No one had ever been able to escape. How did he do it? Those people were also going crazy. Murong Qingqing and Xin Jingxiu, on the other hand, breathed a sigh of relief. That was great. Lin Xian was fine. The person who had come out was indeed Lin Xian. There were still black arms on his body, but they had been cut into pieces. Only a few pieces were left hanging on his body. As time passed, those broken arms were burned by the 9 suns' divine flames and turned into ashes. Lin Xian stood in the void with the dragonflight sword in his hand. You want to seal me with a gate of life and death? You're too naive. His gaze was like a divine sword staring at Song Mingqing. To be honest, it was indeed very dangerous just now. He felt a sealing power that wanted to suppress him in the void forever. At the critical moment, he sent out the dragon sword soul to destroy everything. The power of the seal was shattered, and the 6 black hands on his body were also shattered. He broke through the gate of life and death and ran out. Fortunately, he reacted quickly enough and sent out the dragon sword soul as soon as he entered. Otherwise, it would have been difficult for him to escape. Damn it, damn it. Song Mingqing came back to his senses. He was so angry that his face was distorted. He really couldn't understand how the other party came out. However, Lin Xian didn't waste time talking nonsense with him. He almost lost his life in there just now, so at that moment he was also full of anger. His figure flickered and appeared in front of the other party. The ancient dragon abyss sword erupted with unparalleled power. He didn't hold back at all. Clang, 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 clang. Song Mingqing reacted hastily and was forced to retreat. He even spat out a mouthful of blood. This scene shocked the surrounding people even more. Damn it, what's that? Song Mingqing was shocked. The dragonflight sword in the other party's hand was too terrifying. It threatened his life. He wanted to take a closer look, but the dragonflight sword transformed into a dragon claw, grabbed Song Mingqing and threw him out. That direction happened to be the direction of the yin-yang gate of life and death. Oh no! Damn it, stop right there. Song Mingqing was scared out of his wits. If he went in there, he would probably be sealed too. That was a forbidden technique and he couldn't control it completely. He changed his position and wanted to escape, but Lin Xian came up and kicked him. His entire leg shone brightly like a mountain and landed on the other party's body. The other party was directly kicked into the yin-yang gate of life and death. Boom. The yin-yang gate of life and death released a strange and unpredictable aura. The black vortex slowly rotated, forming terrifying runes that flickered between heaven and earth. The surrounding people were all stunned. The people of the yin-yang sect screamed in horror. Their previous holy son had fallen into the yin-yang gate of life and death. Damn it, what should we do? A few powerhouses rushed forward wanting to save him. But very quickly they were scared out of their wits and pissed their pants. As soon as they got close, a terrifying force tried to pull them into the 18th level of hell. They didn't dare to go any closer. The others were also stunned because Song Mingqing didn't come out after waiting for a long time. Could it be that he's been sealed? Chapter 2738. Don't you know what a forbidden technique is? This was the power of a forbidden technique. Even the user couldn't fully control it. It was very likely that the user would be counter-sealed. Everyone was terrified. They didn't dare to imagine what would happen to Song Mingqing. Lin Xian turned around again and looked at the ancient altar in front of him. His eyes shone with a sharp light. Countless sword shadows gathered under his feet and formed a giant dragon. It extended from his feet and connected to the ancient altar. He walked on the giant dragon like a demon. This time no one dared to stop him. How many terrifying prodigies had died? Even 2 invincible kings had been killed. And one of them was the previous yin-yang saint. This was definitely an extremely terrifying battle record. Hence, no one dared to block Lin Xian's path anymore. When he arrived in front of the ancient altar, Lin Xian stopped. He took a deep breath and his eyes shone brightly. He stretched out his palm, and a huge golden palm covered the sky as it grabbed forward. That drop of dragon blood trembled violently and let out a dragon's roar. A terrifying aura spread out. The surrounding martial artists were affected and their faces changed. Lin Xian was the same. In the next moment he snorted coldly. The great dragon sword soul in his body also let out a roar. The 2 dragon roars collided in the sky. Suppress. Lin Xian roared. The great dragon sword soul turned into a dragon shadow and circled around his palm. It directly enveloped the drop of dragon blood. Poof. Brr. The great dragon sword soul swallowed the dragon blood and roared into the sky. It released a terrifying sword light. Lin Xian's black hair also danced wildly. The muscles on his body even started to crack. He didn't expect the great dragon sword soul to swallow the dragon blood directly. Although it was just a drop of dragon blood, the energy it contained was too overwhelming. Even if most of it was absorbed by the great dragon sword soul, the remaining bit seemed to want to burst Lin Xian's body. Ping ping ping. Indeed, in the next moment, Lin Xian's muscles cracked. Blood burst out and dyed his body red. Everyone was shocked, thinking that Lin Xian was going to die. Many of them were even gloating. He felt that he could pick up a few of Lin Xian's treasures. However, after watching for a long time, the corners of their mouths twitched. They realized that Lin Xian's body was rapidly healing. Then it split open again and healed again. After dozens of times like this, everyone became numb. They were extremely shocked. Is this the cultivation process of the 9 yang divine body? It was too painful. Even if they were given the chance, they probably wouldn't dare to practice it. Boom. Boom. In the sky, dark clouds covered the sky. Thunder descended and struck Lin Xian's surroundings, piercing through the void and scaring the surrounding people into quickly retreating. Heavens, what's going on? Thunder and lightning appeared. Who was attacking Lin Xian? Did he not want to live anymore? There was still someone who dared to make a move? No, it wasn't a human. It was a heavenly tribulation. Damn it, what the hell is this brat doing? He actually attracted a heavenly tribulation? In the distance, another earth-shattering battle broke out on the other 4 altars. But soon they were also frightened by the heavenly tribulation. One by one they stopped and looked at Lin Xian with shock. Damn it, this brat is heaven-defying. Many people had such thoughts in their hearts. Even Yi Wudao and Wu Chen's mouths twitched slightly. It was definitely rare to attract a heavenly tribulation while cultivating. Because only extremely heaven-defying monsters would be punished by the heavenly tribulation. Big brother Lin Xian is so powerful. Shen Jingxiu's mouth was also wide open. Murong Qingqing, who was standing on the side, was also surprised, but they were too happy. Because Lin Xian had obtained the first drop of dragon blood. The 2 of them also had to work hard. Thinking of this, Murong Qingqing shouted and activated her bloodline power. She took out a golden fan and waved it quickly in front of her. Phoenix Wing Golden Fan. A phoenix cry sounded, and the overwhelming phoenix image roared, causing the sound of heaven and earth. Then the attack hit the dragon blood. The dragon blood trembled violently and exploded. What? The dragon blood exploded? These people were crazy. Hurry up and attack. A peerless expert roared, because after the dragon blood exploded, there were a total of 6 drops. This time the fight for it was even more intense. Previously there was only 1 drop of dragon blood and most of them had no hope. Now there were 6 drops. Although the 6 drops were small, if they could obtain it, it would be a heaven-defying opportunity. Chior attack. Murong Qingqing shouted and used the Phoenix Wing Golden Fan. Together with the Lotus Jade platform, she used the Jade Lake Sacred Ground's great ability. Covering the sky and covering the earth, they charged into the distance. Shen Jingqiu also nodded and quickly attacked. Although she didn't have much combat experience, she was the saintess of the Purple Dawn Holy Land after all. Moreover, she had a top-notch bloodline power. Therefore, the battle was very terrifying. The other altars also experienced a shocking explosion. Some altars also scattered the dragon blood, and everyone fought crazily. However, the lobsters on Yi Wudao and Yi Wuqian's side didn't shatter. Both of them were titled geniuses and were very powerful. One had the Eastern Wilderness sacred body, and the other was the reincarnation of an ancient Buddha. Both of them were extremely powerful, and they had even killed powerful invincible kings. Everyone was shocked. Heavens, these two didn't seem to be weaker than Lin Xian. As expected of the top geniuses, these people were terrified. In the end, Yi Wudao and Yi Wuqian also obtained the undamaged dragon blood. They didn't hesitate and directly swallowed it. Such a good thing had to be used on the spot. Buzz Yi Wudao roared at the sky, and a golden aura rushed out of his body like a golden wave, sweeping through the 9 heavens. Above his head, there was also a terrifying bolt of lightning descending. On the other side, Wuqian chanted Amitabha, and Buddha shadows appeared on his body. It was as if the ancient Buddha had been resurrected. Around him, a sea of lightning spread, and a heavenly tribulation descended. Damn freak monster. Seeing that the 3 heavenly tribulations all had lightning tribulations, the people in the distance frantically retreated. This wasn't ordinary lightning. This was a lightning tribulation, the power of heaven and earth, and it was extremely terrifying. Not to mention these people, even invincible kings didn't dare to touch it lightly. Therefore, those who didn't get the dragon blood retreated one after another. And those who got the dragon blood quickly swallowed it to increase their strength. Among them, Murong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu each got a drop. Although it was small, it was still a good result, and the 2 of them quickly consumed it. Just like that, many peerless geniuses and top geniuses quickly increased their strength, and the surrounding people were envious. There was no other way. There was only so much dragon blood and it had already been taken. And there was a sea of lightning in front of them, so they didn't dare to make a move. Therefore, for a while they could only retreat with indignant expressions. Buzz buzz buzz, all of a sudden the air split open and 3 enormous palms descended, enveloping Lin Xian, Leaf Doudenier, and Dustless. Chapter 2739. The palm was too terrifying. It carried an extremely terrifying power that surpassed everything before it. With a single palm strike, everyone prostrated themselves on the ground, their faces filled with fear. Damn it, there's a peerless expert. He wants to kill these elites. They were too shocked. Who dares to make a move at this time? Moreover, the palm was too terrifying. Even the heavenly tribulation couldn't hurt it. It must be an earth-shattering big shot. In an instant, Lin Xian, Yi Wudao, and Wuqian fell into an extremely dangerous situation. Lin Xian's body was bathed in lightning, and his body was riddled with holes. The heavenly tribulation was extremely terrifying. Even a peerless genius like him would have difficulty resisting it. But now, not only was there a heavenly tribulation, but there was also a terrifying killing move. A huge palm. It enveloped him. It made his hair stand on end. Before the palm even landed, many of the bones in his body had already shattered. Needless to say, it was an invincible king and an extremely terrifying one at that. It far surpassed the White Wolf King and the previous Yin Yang Saint. Xiaowu. He roared. He couldn't resist at all, but he had a protector. Sure enough, it was by his side. The void split open and a woman in a black dress walked out. The woman in the black dress held a black rose in her hand and charged forward. In an instant, it pierced through the terrifying palm that covered the sky. It wasn't just Lin Xian's side. It was the same for Yi Wudao and Wuchen. Their protectors walked out one after another. They were all extremely terrifying existences, and they easily neutralized the three sky-covering palms. At the same time they floated beside Lin Xian and the other two. Protector. Their protector had appeared. Everyone was shocked. They didn't expect that the three of them would still be alive in such a situation. Not only that, these three protectors were simply too frightening. In an instant, they pierced through the sky-covering tree. What kind of existence was that? They didn't dare to imagine. In the sky, the mysterious attacker didn't make a move. It retreated like flowing water. Between heaven and earth, there was only endless light floating and piercing through the void. After about half a day, the heavenly tribulation on Lin Xian's side slowly disappeared. Lin Xian was shrouded in endless light, unable to see clearly. Beside him was the silhouette of a dragon that soared into the clouds. It was so terrifying that it turned into a heavenly sword. After another half a day, the place where Lin Xian was at shone with boundless light, and an extremely terrifying power erupted. An 8-star king. He had broken through. Heavens, he actually broke through, becoming a peerless powerhouse. This scene shocked the surrounding experts. That's right, Lin Xian had successfully broken through and become an 8-star king realm expert, becoming a peerless almighty. Not only that, his 9-yang divine body had also broken through the first layer and reached the second layer. This made Lin Xian wild with joy. One had to know how difficult it was to cultivate the 9-yang divine body. How much pain had he experienced to reach the 5th stage of the first layer? But now, after the baptism of the lightning tribulation, he finally succeeded in breaking through and reached the second level. One had to admit that this lightning tribulation was simply too terrifying. Great, his physique was several times stronger than before. Most likely, even ordinary invincible kings would find it difficult to injure him. What about the great dragon sword soul? How much had it recovered? Lin Xian turned his head and looked behind him at the indomitable dragon sword soul. He was looking forward to it. Previously, the great dragon sword soul had recovered and broken through after absorbing the heart of 10,000 blood, allowing it to kill ordinary invincible kings. He wondered how terrifying it would be after absorbing the dragon blood this time. Not long after, the great dragon sword soul roared, turned into a dragon shadow and entered Lin Xian's body. Lin Xian felt that his originally tyrannical body had become even more violent. So powerful. Lin Xian was shocked. He was now confident that he could finish off the previous Yin-Yang saint within 30 moves. If he wanted to kill the White Wolf King, he would probably be able to do so in 10 moves. Too powerful. Lin Xian was extremely excited. His strength had improved comprehensively. He wondered how Qingqing and Qiu were doing. Thinking of this, Lin Xian turned his head and looked into the distance. In the distance, Murong Qingqing and Xinjing Qiu were also surrounded by light. Obviously, they were also refining the dragon blood with all their might. Lin Xian's gaze swept across the surrounding saints and geniuses before landing on Yi Wudao and Wuchen. He was extremely shocked. Their heavenly tribulations were also slowly disappearing. A violent energy burst out from their bodies. Peerless Almighty. These two had also broken through to the 8-star king realm. Especially Yi Wudao, whose saint body's aura was even stronger. Obviously, his saint body had also improved. As for Wuchen, he was even more mysterious. Ancient Buddha phantoms lingered around him, making Lin Xian feel incredulous. As if sensing Lin Xian's gaze, Yi Wudao and Wuchen also turned their heads. The three of them exchanged gazes in the air. In an instant, the void shattered and collapsed, forming a super large black hole. The surrounding people frantically retreated. At the same time, they were extremely shocked. They were really looking forward to the three of them fighting. Yeah, I wonder when they'll be able to fight? Don't worry, the path to becoming a great emperor is filled with enemies. Even if they have a good relationship now, they will still fight for the position of great emperor in the future. An elder powerhouse said in a deep voice. Peng peng peng, a powerful aura spread out as the saints and geniuses broke through one after another. This made the surrounding people very envious. These people were too terrifying. Not only were their talents terrifying, but they were also very lucky to be able to advance with Lin Xian and the others. That's right, although there were many geniuses. But after all, they were only geniuses of a certain period. If they couldn't keep up with the pace of the top geniuses, they would gradually be eliminated. Only by constantly breaking through and advancing could one be able to sing in this golden age. Obviously, these young geniuses in front of them were such people. Big Brother Xian. Big Brother Lin Xian. In the distance, two beautiful figures turned into shooting stars and came to Lin Xian's side. They were Murong Qingqing and Xinjing Qiu. Lin Xian said with a smile, congratulating the two peerless beauties for breaking through. That's right, the two of them had also broken through and reached the almighty realm. Wow, what are you going to reward me for? Shen Jingqiu raised her small face. Murong Qingqing, who was standing beside her, was also smiling like a flower. What do you want? Heavenly treasures, supernatural powers, cultivation techniques, weapons, armors, whatever you want. Lin Xian said with a smile. Hearing this, the surrounding people were envious. Damn, they were really stimulated. Murong Qingqing looked around and said, Brother Xian, it seems that this isn't the end. There's still a path ahead. Should we go and take a look? Lin Xian also looked into the distance, and a golden light appeared in his eyes. Suddenly his pupils shrank. That was because he saw that there seemed to be an extremely terrifying existence in the distance. Could that be the Guardian's corpse? You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.